Cheddar, cheddar, put you through the shredder, only if you live. Felt the pressure, ancestors gave their life for us to make it right, not for giving up the fight. Shine the light so bright if we all unite. The time, right time now for new heights. Mrs. Max and your Robinson in charge, Lord. Put the sir on the front, veteran door. I just verbalize the truth, then I kick it fluid. And what these two trying to do, bring us to a unit. Power in this speech, gotta learn before you teach. If each one reach one, better off we be. Tune in, nigga, change, gotta do it. Mrs. Max and your Robinson in sir charge, Lord, y'all. Yeah. It's in my humble opinion. It's in my humble opinion. Shit.
Hold on, wait.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion, only on 101.3 Jams.
Family means comfort and joy, except when it doesn't. For some people, time spent with family means yelling, degradation, intimidation, secrecy, and even emotional and physical abuse. As one of these people, you may feel isolated, as if you have nowhere to turn, but you are not alone. The Charlottesville Victim Witness Program is here for all victims of crime, no matter what the situation. Relationship violence crosses all cultural and economic lines, and so do we. No matter who you are or what your story is, we are here to listen, even to non-English speakers. Call the Charlottesville Victim Witness Program at 970-3176 for information about your options in the criminal and civil justice systems and community resources. You do not have to make a police report to receive our services. This message is sponsored by the Virginia Department of Criminal Justice Services.
Support for this station today is coming from Elite Auto.
Hi, I'm Anthony Mayo from Elite Auto here in Charlottesville. I've loved cars since I was a kid, fixing them when they don't run, making them look new after they've been in an accident, and restoring them when they get old. Here at Elite, we're primarily a body shop, but we have the expertise and technology in-house to fix virtually any automotive issue. Whether you had an accident or just hearing a strange noise, I invite you to bring your vehicle to Elite Auto.
You can reach Elite Auto at eliteautorestorations.net at 434-296-2948, or you can go by and see them at 22 Rosa Terrace off 6th Street Southeast Charlottesville. That's Elite Auto.
Hi, my name is Angelique, owner of Angelique's Kitchen Soul Food Eatery. I would like to introduce you to my new restaurant located inside the Dairy Market at 946 Grady Avenue, Charlottesville, Virginia, open 7 days a week. Some of the items on my menu for you to enjoy is my exclusive fried fish, barbecue ribs, fried chicken, crab cakes, fried shrimp, macaroni and cheese, corn pudding, collard greens, yams, potato salad, seafood salad, and so much more. We also serve a full breakfast from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. and lunch and dinner from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Visit our website at angeliqueskitchen.com. So bring your family and have a seat at our table where food becomes your happiness.
Been Around Tattoo supports this station and has been adorning Charlottesville residents with innovative body art for over 15 years. Been Around has male and female artists dedicated to maintaining industry standards in an environment that balances classic aestheticism and popular culture. Been Around is now accepting votes in this year's Best of Seville competition, and you can find them at 703 West Main Street and on Facebook. To check availability or make an appointment, it's 434-923-8282 or BeenAroundTattoos.com.
I can't believe it's been more than a year.
Your hair is so long. Your best friend is only a vaccine away. Virginians can now receive a free COVID-19 vaccine. Visit vaccinate.virginia.gov. Brought to you by the Virginia Department of Health.
New in Charlottesville, it's the Dogwood Tree, Seville's fresh face in flowers and gifts in the University Shopping Center across from St. Anne's High School. The Dogwood Tree specializes in field-to-table flowers and Virginia-made gifts for any occasion. Hours are 9 to 6 weekdays and 10 to 4 on Saturday for in-store shopping or curbside pickup. Appointments are also available for private shopping. The website is thedogwoodtreeflorist.com. On Facebook or Instagram, it's the Dogwood Tree Florist. The Dogwood Tree supports this station.
Support for programming comes from Event Space Rental, located at 340 Greenbrier Drive, Charlottesville. Great for birthday.
Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.
Relationship violence crosses all cultural and economic lines, and so do we. No matter who you are or what your story is, we are here to listen, even to non-English speakers. Call the Charlottesville Victim Witness Program at 970-3176 for information about your options in the criminal and civil justice systems and community resources. You do not have to make a police report to receive our services. This message is sponsored by the Virginia Department of Criminal Justice Services.
Hi, my name is Angelique, owner of Angelique's Kitchen Soul Food Eatery. I would like to introduce you to my new restaurant located inside the Dairy Market at 946 Grady Avenue, Charlottesville, Virginia, open 7 days a week. Some of the items on my menu for you to enjoy is my exclusive fried fish, barbecue ribs, fried chicken, crab cakes, fried shrimp, macaroni and cheese, corn pudding, collard greens, yams, potato salad, seafood salad, and so much more. We also serve a full breakfast from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. and lunch and dinner from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Visit our website at angeliqueskitchen.com. So bring your family and have a seat at our table where food becomes your happiness.
Hold on, wait.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion, only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO Talk Show, Sir Charles Aaron in the building. One more again in the booth. Aaron, how you feeling, my man?
Once again, it's on.
Hey, back like we never left.
Never left.
Because you know we got to do it for the people.
Absolutely.
You feel what I'm saying, man? Man, I am feeling good today, my brother. Man, another blessed weekend, another opportunity to be here for the people, man. To keep giving the good information that we have going on in Seville, like we always say, man. Taking Seville to the world and bringing the world to Seville, you know. But, man, so it's just a blessing to be able to be here, man, because we covering a lot, bro. You got COVID trying to make a comeback.
Yeah.
COVID trying to...
Back like it never left, man.
Yo, man, who's the king of comebacks? Like, I got to get an alias for COVID at this point.
The Rona.
The Rona, you know what I mean? But, man, you know, while there's no laughing matter, it's like we trying to, you know, definitely be smart. And, you know, man, y'all stay prayed up for sure. If nothing else, and definitely be safe as possible. Regardless of what we think about conspiracies and how it started and who's spreading it. The fact of the matter is that I think by now we all have been affected by it in some way.
Move accordingly, as my mama said. Move accordingly.
I feel you, man.
Yep.
Man, so also, man, we're going to have Brother Broadus Palmer joining us today. Hopefully you guys have been staying in touch with the Seville Inclusive Media, because then you would know what the cover story is. Brother Broadus Palmer is going to be talking about his tech company. And he has a good perspective, man, because the brother, you know, is somebody local. He tried the music scene, and then he evolved, man. Like, he shows how he shows what growth looks like. You know what I mean? Like, he never took no for an answer when it came to bettering himself, and found opportunity after opportunity, you know, to where he's leading, I'm going to call it a tech giant. So my man Broadus Palmer is going to be through, man. And let's see, man, you know, with the mental health, Ron, something we talk about a lot, and and man, what's interesting to me, and I want y'all to stay tuned. It's gonna be a little teaser for him, man. It seems like our black athletes are showing it more so now than ever. Now, I want to get to the root of that. Like, so we're gonna bring in my man Nick Wright from WGC, and he's gonna talk some more about it because, man, like, I got some thoughts on it, Aaron. It may not be so popular, bro.
I think it's a long time coming. You know, I think it's a long time coming. And I got some thoughts as well, and I think that give people a different perspective on how we should be looking at this thing and what representing your country actually means. You know, just something to think about.
Yeah, and you know, something else for them to think about as we lead into that is it more prevalent now because mental health therapy is just more prevalent, it's more acceptable within our community? Is that why we're seeing some more of our folks being upfront about it? Or could it be something else that I'm gonna hold in because I want y'all to stay tuned on my other point. And, you know, and I ain't, you know, trust me, mental health is real. Just like COVID is real.
100%,
it ain't a laughing matter. But, you know, generationally, we have a lot of differences, and every generation looks at the next generation a certain way. So let's talk about it.
How we deal with stuff is very different now than we did 30 years ago. That's a fact.
Big fact, man.
Fact.
And let's see. In the bottom of the hour, too, we're going to have our friends from Seville Tomorrow join us. Miss Erin O'Hare, one of the new reporters over at Seville Tomorrow, another CIM partner, Seville Inclusive Media partner. She has a couple of good articles out there right now. She worked with our friend Charlotte Renee Woods over there at Seville Tomorrow.
Charlotte.
Yeah, always doing good work. They were out there at the, for those that don't know, that Albemarle County is looking at a firearm ban of sorts. And, of course, like there's different details to that, that you can read up on. Again, Charlotte and Aaron reported on that in Seville Tomorrow. We're going to touch on that. But mainly, she's the housing, man. And Aaron, I want you to chime in on this later, too, bro, because I know how much you're involved in housing. And so, a couple of big points for y'all family right now that's going on in Charlottesville. If you're paying attention to the media and, especially our people, the eviction prevention methods to help with the prevention of evictions, as well as vouchers, particularly the vouchers that kind of started last year, because of COVID for those who, who are out of work and for other reasons. But, the vouchers for those who needed it actually expired yesterday.
This is going to be, we're going to talk about this, but this is going to be a little rough. What we're about to see, I think, within the next 6 to 12 months is going to be something that, unfortunately, we didn't want to see, but it's just it's unavoidable. And so we need to give the people the information to know exactly, number one, what to do, how to deal with it if you are a landlord or if you actually are a tenant. Because there are different perspectives to this thing, Charles, that I don't think people are always looking at. And I think we need to be aware of it, but also make sure that we're doing ourselves to protect the people and give them some good information they can chew on and make some good decisions, man.
Man, that is spot on. That is spot on, my man. So good people, y'all know how to reach us online, IMHO Talk Show. Even here today, start kicking off this August 2021. If that's when you're listening to it, then we are live here at the station.
Man, we in August,
bro. The summer's like Audi 5000. G.
The summer said, "I'm out of here, dude." Like I don't know what y'all was doing. Hey, man, they're like, we in August. I mean, shoot. Next thing you know, people gonna start putting up Christmas trees and.
Bro. Yeah,
standing outside at Walmart already. I mean, that's what we doing again.
That's what we doing. And you already know how that system works, man. It seems like Christmas gets earlier and earlier every year.
Christmas
capitalizing.
Is now. Christmas is now for some of y'all,
right? So. Man, some are like, what? COVID coming back? Gotta go. Some are getting away from that COVID. That's what some are doing.
Man, the streets is crazy. ATL ain't shut down. Houston ain't never shut down. Hey, man, Florida, it's just a bunch of places, man. So we know, but seems like this is where our world is going to be. It's just always consistent inconsistency. That's the best way to say it.
Ooh, I like that.
I know. Don't steal it, too.
Yeah, hey, bro, you already know.
I'm copywriting it.
I'm already on it.
It's already there.
Hey, let's start off with the shout outs too, man. For this month of August, since we're kicking it off, there's a lot going on, family, this month. Actually, this upcoming weekend, with August the 7th is West Haven Day. Y'all know, if y'all been around for a minute, you know about the annual West Haven Day, going out and celebrating that community, as well as getting good info about resources that is available to our public housing, particularly, like even the nursing clinic. They're a big part of this promotion as well, right there in the communities that serve. So West Haven Day is Saturday, right, August 7th. Man, there's so much going on, bro. We have also, next show, we hope to be joined by our sister Kalila Jones, with Chic and Classy Image Consulting, because she is part of the Soul of Seville. Shout out DJ Almighty for helping putting that together. Because sometimes we got to do it big on our own. We got to stop asking for a table and set our own. You feel me?
Hey, man, you got to make sure you put the spread on that thing by yourself.
That's right. So we got, in partnership with 101 Jam, Chic and Classy, Kalila's Closet, Black Women of Central Virginia, and X Park, August 28th. Soul of Seville, in particular at X Park, opens at 5 p.m. There will be an entry fee. But you're going to have folks there such as E&J Fashion, the E&J Band, and the Fashion Show. with Sister Kalila, as I said, the BCBA dancers, Artisan Marketplace, food. It's going to be food and drink, going to be community resources, and a late night silent disco by some of the Mix Squad DJs. And
it popping.
Hey, and y'all stay tuned, man. Follow WVAI 101 Jams because there's so much more that's out there on social media that's going to be done that weekend. Again, August 28th, Soul of Seville. I ain't gonna put you on the spot, Aaron. I'm gonna ask you after the show if you coming or not, because you know what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Because the people may pull out. You know what I mean? Like the ladies may show up, like, "Where's Shea Butter? I heard Shea Butter on the radio."
You know what? Let's talk about this real quick right now. Hey, you see what he doing back there? So y'all was killing me on my Shea Butter. I wasn't here to defend myself.
Hey,
and I thought we was family, bro.
Razor, blame Razor.
Oh, blame Razor.
Blame Razor.
Did you make any attempt to stop him and say the Shea Butter slander was incorrect against my brother? Did you do that at all?
Nah, man, because I don't want to filter Razor. You know what I mean? You can't filter Razor. That's right. Hey, look, we put it on you last time since you weren't here. Razor ain't here today, so I'm putting it on him. That's how it goes.
All right,
That's how family do family.
All right. Shout out to Razor.
Shout out to Max and Razor.
I hope you out there burning hot dogs and giving them to people and they're yelling at you. I don't know, man.
Shout out to Max and Razor out there handling business as always. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a break, Ron, and let's be back with our man from Level Up Tech, Broadus Palmer. B. Palmer is going to be in the building with us. Y'all don't want to miss, like we said, full show. And you know, Ron and I are going to give it to you only as we can, y'all. You know, we're going to have some dialogue throughout the show. So y'all hit us up and let us know. 422-9101. If you're out of the area, 434-422-9101, that is. But of course, IMHO Talk Show on all your communication platforms, social media, and such. And one thing we're going to talk about later as we go to this break, Ron, is because we love hip hop. We love MCing.
Hip hop.
And there's a new beef. And how it came to be is a little controversial. But it's some real MCs out here doing it. Some real MCs. And I think they're doing it for the culture. That's what I think, but we're going to get into that.
I think they're doing it for something else, and we'll get into that, too.
Hey, I mean, like everybody else capitalizing, why can't they? You feel me?
For the bag, dog.
Hey, so we got that we're going to get into, you know, Royce and Lupe. You know, for those, like, what are y'all talking about? Royce and Lupe starting it, but then they bringing in some other top-notch MCs. You know, for those who don't know, Royce is probably like my dark horse. Royce is my underdog as far as who don't get credit,
right?
Like for what they contribute to the culture and their prowess as an MC.
Yeah,
like top 5.
Royce can spit.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take that away. Royce can spit.
And we on the heels of the verses. Give it up for this week.
Dipset,
and D-Block.
LOX.
That's gonna be good.
Chest to chest, yes sir.
We gotta dig into that one too. You know what I mean? Like, don't even say who you voting for. You know who you rooting for, or whatnot, who you got your money on. But we gotta get into that too. But what should we get into for this first break, Aaron? Should we play some LOX, some Dipset? I mean, and y'all hit us up too, listeners. IMHO Talk Show online. Let us know with LOX.
Do some Dipset, man. Let's start with
a
Dipset,
Dipset song you want to hear. What Royce song you want to hear? What Lupe song you want to hear? All right, let's see what we got here. Let's get the people some. All right, I got you, Aaron. Here we go. Y'all stay tuned. It's Sir Charles. This is Aaron. IMHO Talk Show. IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.
We live in a society in which structural racism is a very real thing. We are all dealing with that in every aspect of our lives, and the media is a reflection of our community.
Historically, black people have been portrayed a certain way in the media to justify normative assumptions around political and social issues.
More black people behind the cameras, in front of the cameras, more producers, more people of color producing, so they can go and get the content that's needed so they can highlight our attributes.
I've been in this industry for 15 years, and I've seen firsthand how our voices just aren't heard. Even if you're in the newsroom, sometimes you get completely ignored and stereotypes are allowed to perpetuate. And one thing we want to do is combat that and also bring information to people so they can be as informed as possible when choices are made in this city, so they can do whatever they can to get their voices heard.
What I believe can be done about the situation is to have more people of color creating news stories. More people who have a interest in and a social consciousness that relates to the stories that they're telling.
Charlottesville Tomorrow looks at these issues. We can present them on IMHO. Vinegar Hill Magazine can take that a step further, and just together we can just make this thing that can be an example of how we can change the media landscape, how we can be more inclusive to get these voices in, to get these people heard. That's just one thing that doesn't happen in so many places, and it's a shame.
We think we live in a society that's very progressive, and we're talking about equity and diversity and inclusion and all these things. Still, the way that black people, and I would say, and I would argue especially black men, are portrayed by the media is incredibly dangerous, and you've seen the sort of tangible violence that it's led to over the past year.
The community can support the SIM project by first and foremost giving us an opportunity. We understand that it can be difficult to give trust right now, especially considering the current social and political environment. But this project will only be as successful as the community allows it to be. And so we ask you to give us the opportunity to do the work, critique the work, and make sure that we stay in line with the vision. Another way that the community can get behind the SIM project is through engagement. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you're talking about. We want to put your stories out there. And so whether it's reading the articles written by Charlottesville Tomorrow or Vinegar Hill Magazine, or tuning in to In My Humble Opinion on Sundays on 101.3 Jams from noon to 3 p.m., either way, we want you engaged. We want you to be part of this. The community can also support the SIM project through funding. To learn more about how to support SIM, you can visit our website. Thank you for your support.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.
We live in a society in which structural racism is a very real thing. We are all dealing with that in every aspect of our lives, and the media is a reflection of our community.
Historically, black people have been portrayed a certain way in the media to justify normative assumptions around political and social issues.
More black people behind the cameras, in front of the cameras, more producers, more people of color producing, so they can go and get the content that's needed so they can highlight our attributes.
I've been in this industry for 15 years, and I've seen firsthand how our voices just aren't heard. Even if you're in the newsroom, sometimes you get completely ignored and stereotypes are allowed to perpetuate. And one thing we want to do is combat that and also bring information to people so they can be as informed as possible when choices are made in this city, so they can do whatever they can to get their voices heard.
What I believe can be done about the situation is to have more people of color creating news stories, more people who have a interest in and a social consciousness that relates to the stories that they're telling.
Charlottesville Tomorrow looks at these issues. We can present them on IMHO. Vinegar Hill Magazine can take that a step further, and just together we can just make this thing that can be an example of how we can change the media landscape, how we can be more inclusive to get these voices in, to get these people heard. That's just one thing that doesn't happen in so many places, and it's a shame.
We think we live in a society that's very progressive, and we're talking about equity and diversity and inclusion and all these things. Still, the way that black people, and I would say, and I would argue especially black men, are portrayed by the media is incredibly dangerous, and you've seen the sort of tangible violence that it's led to over the past year.
The community can support the SIM project by first and foremost giving us an opportunity. We understand that it can be difficult to give trust right now, especially considering the current social and political environment. But this project will only be as successful as the community allows it to be. And so we ask you to give us the opportunity to do the work, critique the work, and make sure that we stay aligned with the vision. Another way that the community can get behind the SIM project is through engagement. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you're talking about. We want to put your stories out there. And so whether it's reading the articles written by Charlottesville Tomorrow or Vinegar Hill Magazine, or tuning in to In My Humble Opinion on Sundays on 101.3 Jams from noon to 3 p.m., either way, we want you engaged. We want you to be part of this. The community can also support the SIM project through funding. To learn more about how to support SIM, you can visit our website. Thank you for your support.
To In My Humble Opinion, only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO Talk Show. We still here like we never left. Hey, Ron.
Yes, sir. That LOX is giving me vibes, man. I feel like them Clue tapes in '98, man. You know, that's what we grew up on, man. It's yeah, man, that's a good sound.
The mixtape era, man. Like going to your convenience store, your barber shop, and getting the Clue.
Hey, man, let me get 3 for 10, bro.
Man, you taking me back, bro.
Let me get 3 for 10, man. You know, that's how I used to be. Shout out to Jamaica Ave, man. Shout out Uptown, man.
Yeah, man. And so, as promised, we are joined for this segment by none other than Broadus Palmer. So happy to have you with us, my brother.
Hey, I appreciate y'all, man. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a true honor. So, what up, Seville?
Yeah, man. You've been around, and man, I know a lot of people know of your name. That's also been around. You know, whether it's been the music scene or your other endeavors. But some may not know about your latest endeavor, Level Up. Level Up in Tech.
Yeah.
Level Up in Tech. So, so that's Level Up, then IN, and tech.com is the website, y'all. The brother is doing big things, and hopefully y'all are subscribed to the Vinegar Hill Magazine, because if so, then you've seen him on the cover. None other than B. Palmer, Broadus Palmer, man. So, man, first off, like blessings to you on all the success so far.
I appreciate it, man. Seriously.
Yeah, man. And so, reading through the article, man, like I was, saying it right before we came on air, what stands out to me the most is sort of the path that you took. It was so inspirational. And I didn't even know, like all of the business endeavors that you actually been in, So, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like you sort of started with the music dream.
Yeah.
And you saw other opportunities like within that, like you started learning the business, and you got into the clothing line to help promote the music, right?
Yep.
And then from that, you actually saw ways of like marketing and how like the cloud work and how sales work, and that led you into the current endeavor.
Yeah. So before the cloud, right? Before tech, it was sneakers too. So
that's right. Okay.
I had a huge sneaker resale company called Daily Flex Club, where we used to partner with developers that create bots. And with sneaker bots, those who don't know, it's just bots that act as a human being and be able to cart and check out a sneaker faster than you can. So we were running bots on certain websites to be able to get limited sneakers and be able to resell them. So it came to a point where, I connected Midwest with a connect, and we started landing, B-list celebrities, Safari or Boosie, Demetrius Shipp Jr., and all of those celebrities alike, and they just started wearing our product and buying from us, and it just became a great storm in the midst of a great opportunity for people to land highly sought after limited sneakers. And then that's where the tech came from, man, because we just try to, I wanted more, right? So, I wanted to see how we could innovate and where I could take myself to the next level. And I mean, I just seen a opportunity in tech and all these things that I went through as far as, music, clothing, sneakers. It just built me to a point where I used all of that to land something in the tech industry, and it's just been going smooth ever since, brother.
Man, that's what's up, man.
That's what's up. He sound like he the plug. My son does consignment, so he about to try to hit you up and get some of them Dior's, bro. What we doing, man? What we doing, man?
Look, the Dior's, I don't know, bro, but I pretty much, right now, even still, I have a closet, there's several closets full of sneakers, and still could get my hands on pretty much anything. But
okay, I'm gonna hold you.
Yeah, we could definitely shoot my contact, man.
We good, man. We good. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So once again, folks, from Level Up in Tech, we have Broadus Palmer with us, and the number one thing that I'm hoping that our listeners get, man, is that especially like the young male or female that all they see is hip hop. Like all they see is, man, I want to be a rapper. I want to get what they got, right? Man, take us back to that. Like sort of take us back, because you're a smart brother. And one thing I know are people that diversify, and the most successful rappers, right? Like they learn the business and they learn how to diversify and not just try to make money off of selling CDs. You know what I'm saying? So sort of take us back, you know what I mean? Like to early on, like what that vision looked like when you were in music, because I know it was bigger than music from the beginning. I can feel it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so, when I was young, man, it was either go to school, get good grades, or at least try to be in the streets and emulate what we see in the streets and, as far as the hood kings and queens, right? So, with me coming through with music, that was the era of, Jeezy, Trap or Die. That was, bruh.
I was riding into that this morning.
Getting money wasn't, it was, we had to, right? So by any means necessary. So as I, created music, we needed bread, right? So one thing I try to do is, try my hand in the streets. And I think it worked out a little bit for me because, I didn't portray myself as a street dude or anything. So it was more like moving silence.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
People didn't expect that from me. And what happened was it enabled me to deal with certain clientele and be able to learn how to sell, right? Learn how to manipulate, if that makes sense, and learn how to sell this no matter what, and when it came to CDs, I just used and applied the same things that I learned and things that I seen from other people that were around me that was in the game.
Right.
And the music just started popping off. I partnered with a gentleman named Kevin Marable up in Northern Virginia, and we just started cranking out shows, man. We started getting opportunities to, perform with legends like Nas, you know what I'm saying, and Gucci Mane, and, so at one point, I'm all about a mindset of ownership. So I was like, instead of begging these promoters trying to get on their shows and, they showing love, but what if we created our own show? What if we brought somebody with our own money and sold out the show and opened up for them and counted the money at the end of the night and be able to sell our merch and people know about us at the end of the night, right? So what we try to do is, at that minute, we got Joe Budden to come out there, because that's all our budget could afford at the time. And Joe Budden didn't have a...
Shout out to Joe. Pump it up.
Only thing he had at the time was a mixtape and a notable song that he did. He did a long freestyle over Frank Ocean's Novocaine beat.
That was dope too.
Yeah, so that's the thing. He killed it, right? So it cost about 5 racks. But what happened was the promoter that normally puts this on the shows gave me a great deal that I couldn't refuse, right? So he came to me and said, look, let us promote the show. You put up half the bread. And the contract said I get my bread back plus 40% interest. So I was like, you sure about this? You got the lawyers to look at it. I'm like, hey, the lawyer was like, take the deal. Took the deal, Joe Budden came out, man. We got like 1,000 people in the building.
That's
it
a
was
good
packed,
show. Yeah,
right?
man.
Great show, right? Come at the end of the night, nobody got my bread, right? Like, oh, bro, there's some issues with the tickets, man. You know, we trying to count, we trying to make sure. Like, hold up, my bread was so guaranteed in the contract that you should have had my bread before the show even started. Right. Yeah. So going through that, going to court, got my bread, you know what I'm saying? You know, because I'm the type of person like, bro, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. You signed the contract. We going to take it the legal way. I'm going to get my bread. So that put it to this perspective of this rap stuff costs money. And I think what people, all these people who want to get into music, you definitely, if you have a dream, go for it. But you got to understand, you are a business. You have to treat it as a business,
man. You
right?
got to learn it.
You have to have money to make money, right? So you have to make sure you allocate your resources and your money to certain things that you need. So like you can't spend all your money on product and all your money on this and that and have no budget for marketing. You can't spend your money on a video and like, I got this video with this person, but you have no strategy of how to get this video out. I'm just gonna put it on YouTube and hope people look at the video, and I hope I get 100,000 views.
Hope is not a strategy, as a wise man said.
Right, you know what I'm saying? So what that put that in my mindset of setting goals like reverse engineering. So at that time, I was like, if we really gonna do this, we need to set goals of like, okay, what is our annual revenue looking like? Like, what we want to earn for this next year? And what are some of the activities that we need to do to earn those things? So what we started to do was, okay, well, the music is doing good, but it's not bringing in the cash, right? It's more so we need something else to offset the cost of putting our music out there and marketing ourselves. One of the things were merch.
Merch, yeah.
So we started selling merch. People start buying it, and they start buying it like crazy. So we was like, this is going good. And at the time, man, I was young, and I wanted to move fast. Like, I wanted something right now. Like, I didn't want to, you know, if I had a dream, I wanted tomorrow.
Right.
You know what I mean? And my partner was more wiser, like, look, take our time. Let's test. Let's retract and see what's working and double down with what's working and get rid of what's not working. I'm like, nah, man, look. By the time you finish and analyze this, I'd have been a fail several times, but I've been and got to my success.
Hey,
That's
Charles, look. Hey, Charles, he want to put the work on the strip. Don't even test it.
Yo, I'm like, yo, let's get this bread. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to get this money, bro. But what happened was it ended up, you know, in a result of a split where, you know, and I understood because I was young and naive, man, and I didn't want to listen. I wanted it my way. But we ended up still trying to, we see the value that the merch was bringing. So we created a company called Prosper, positive messaging company, where we use a panda as like a logo. And we did a pre-launch, man, and then like the pre-launch the week before our launch, we did a soft launch to try to do some pre-orders, and we ended up with like $3,000 worth of pre-orders for that week. And I was like, oh man, this is about to take off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But once again, my ambition and need to go fast and put stuff out there without assessing the risk dealt the relationship in. Right. So another learning point. So,
but you had the vision though. You know what I mean? Like I was eventually.
You was eventually gonna get it. Because you wanted to always get it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, like now, and I'm sure there were quite a few brothers who probably was down with y'all at the beginning, but they didn't have the professionalism like to see the business side of it. I gotta imagine that. Right?
Yeah. So
you know what I mean?
It was one of those things where, you know, for the people I knew, they believed in me, right? And we come from the same sticks, same roads, everything. And they were behind me 100%. Like, look, whatever you need, we got you. You know what I'm saying? You need people to come up with you to this show you're gonna do that. They got your back. We got you. And it was lovely at first, but when you gotta understand is that is your representation of you. So if somebody there that's willing to do a great business deal with you, then that can hinder what you have going on. And you got to make a decision. Are you going to bring the streets into a corporate environment, or are you going to say, I want to be a business and understand what that means and be professional about it? And we had to take that route because, You know, and my folks understood, but you know, I think some of them still to this day, as corny as it may seem, still don't like me over situations from that.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
That's cool, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you
cool.
gonna have that. I mean, like a lot of times, like success breeds envy. You know,
Right, yeah,
a lot of times. But Aaron, real quick, before we
Okay,
go to
adequate.
the,
Yeah,
to the
we
next
get it.
point too, is I was gonna say the most crucial part about that, and that I think our folks need to hear for sure, make sure they didn't miss it, is that even though y'all sort of fell out, you know, you and your business partner had the disagreement and was kind of going separate ways, you still handle business. Like,
Yeah,
you follow what I'm saying?
yeah,
Yo, that,
yeah.
But look, that's so important.
Right,
because
right.
like too many times we don't realize that your business and personal can be separate. Get to
Right.
the bread, man, you know?
That's for sure.
Bag talk.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you got to look at. I always looked at my failures as lesson learned, right? Like whatever I did wrong this time, I'm not going to do wrong next time.
Right.
And bringing it to the next situation, whatever it may be, and it just makes myself, you know, even more sharper and smarter, more calmer, more focused, more. You know, I still have ambition, but making sure I analyze, because with me and a lot of men like me, you know, we're laser focused. So when we focus on things, we just laser focused.
Right.
But what we need to do sometimes is think about everything else around us. And think about all the factors that go into the decision that you're about to make. And that's one thing I've learned throughout my mistakes is you got to consider all options.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You got to weigh it objectively and not emotionally.
Yeah.
You know?
So full circle, all your experiences, the companies that started, the quick moves and everything. Now bring us to the future. Bring us to where we are right now. Level up in tech. And just how are you here? How did you launch the creative identity? Give it to the people, man. Let us know how it came.
Hey, can I interject?
What you got?
Yeah, what's up?
Can we leave it as a cliffhanger? Let's go to break real quick.
Okay.
Because
okay.
I got a feeling like that. That's the reason for it, because that's going to be an in-depth answer that we want to hear, but we got to take a break, all right?
Yeah, no problem.
Let's do that. Hey,
Perfect.
great setup, Aaron. That was a great setup for the, you know,
You
for
throw
the
the
folks to
alley.
stick
I'm
through the
catching
break.
them like Sean Kemp and Gary Payton, baby.
Right. So y'all stay tuned. We're going to be right back with Broadus Palmer of Level Up in Tech. And he's going to tell us just that, what Aaron just asked him. How did he make that move into this current technology platform? All right, y'all. IMHO Talk Show. Hit us up during the break, y'all. 434-422-9101. IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.
We live in a society in which structural racism is a very real thing. We are all dealing with that in every aspect of our lives, and the media is a reflection of our community.
Historically, black people have been portrayed a certain way in the media to justify normative assumptions around political and social issues.
More black people behind the cameras, in front of the cameras, more producers, more people of color producing, so they can go and get the content that's needed so they can highlight our attributes.
I've been in this industry for 15 years, and I've seen firsthand how our voices just aren't heard. Even if you're in the newsroom, sometimes you get completely ignored and stereotypes are allowed to perpetuate. And one thing we want to do is combat that and also bring information to people so they can be as informed as possible when choices are made in the city, so they can do whatever they can to get their voices heard.
What I believe can be done about the situation is to have more people of color creating news stories, more people who have a interest in and a social consciousness that relates to the stories that they're telling.
Charlottesville Tomorrow looks at these issues. We can present them on IMHO. Vinegar Hill Magazine can take that a step further, and just together we can just make this thing that can be an example of how we can change the media landscape, how we can be more inclusive to get these voices in, to get these people heard. That's just one thing that doesn't happen in so many places, and it's a shame.
We think we live in a society that's very progressive, and we're talking about equity and diversity and inclusion and all these things. Still, the way that black people, and I would say, and I would argue especially black men, are portrayed by the media is incredibly dangerous, and you've seen the sort of tangible violence that it's led to over the past year.
The community can support the SIM project by first and foremost giving us an opportunity. We understand that it can be difficult to give trust right now, especially considering the current social and political environment. But this project will only be as successful as the community allows it to be. And so we ask you to give us the opportunity to do the work, critique the work, and make sure that we stay in line with the vision. Another way that the community can get behind the SIM project is through engagement. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you're talking about. We want to put your stories out there. And so whether it's reading the articles written by Charlottesville Tomorrow or Vinegar Hill Magazine, or tuning in to In My Humble Opinion on Sundays on 101.3 Jams from noon to 3 p.m., either way, we want you engaged. We want you to be part of this. The community can also support the SIM project through funding. To learn more about how to support SIM,
Listening to In My Humble Opinion, only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles A. Aaron still here, joined by Mr. Broadus Palmer.
Yes, sir.
Level Up in Tech.
Yes, sir.
All right. And so, Aaron, go ahead and pose that question again, my man.
Okay, so he gave us his previous experiences, the trials, the learning points and everything. And I love when brothers are transparent about things that they could have done better. Because so many times we hear about the come up, but we all know during that come up, you have to be self-evaluating. Okay, you know what? I did kind of do this wrong. And but that's everything you do. So I wanted you to bring it full circle. What Level Up in Tech? Talk to the people. How that came about. Give it to them straight, and what the vision was for that company.
Yeah, man. So this whole time when I was doing music and everything, I was trying to transition into the banking industry as well. Okay. And my whole goal was like, hey, man, if I get a management position, I'll be set. Right? If I could just, and there's nothing wrong with it, but if I can get a 50K career, I'm good taking care of me and my family. And it came to a point where I just got tired of dealing with people and their finances. And one day, a lady came in and just all over me because of some money that was out of her account that she spent. And she told me, she was like, look at my accounts, look closely, and check how much money I have. And that's the type of service I expect from you, right? And I was like, I treat everybody the same, and at that moment, I was like, yo, you got to do something different. And what are you going to do? And my mind said, hey, you're going to get into tech. And I'm like, what the hell are you going to do in tech? And I'm like, what? And I just started talking to people, 1,000 different people took me 1,000 different directions. And one day I was like, you know what? Let me look up the top 10 tech roles in America, highest paying tech roles. So I see a number one. I can't remember what it was, but you had to be in another role for like 5 years to get it.
Right.
Number two was a role called AWS Solutions Architect, right? And I was like, I don't know what Oz is. What is Oz? Because I thought AWS meant Oz. But it actually mean Amazon Web Services, cloud service provider. So the average salary was like $146.
Right.
And no prerequisites, like no college degree, no nothing. And I'm like, so you mean tell me I can make 146 and I ain't got to do nothing but grind and get these certifications and learn and get it?
Right.
oh, that's what I'm doing then.
Because you grinding now.
Yeah, so I'm like, laser focus. That's what I'm doing.
Right.
The
So
come up.
going through it, listening to people, they was like, hey man, get your certifications in AWS. You'll find a job immediately. So what I did was I got 3 certifications in that field, and people were hitting me up on LinkedIn because I was sharing my journey. I was like, let me share my story, share video testimonials for myself as like my experience, because somebody coming after me was doing the same thing I'm doing. Let me see if I can help them. So while I was doing that, people was hitting me up like, yo, like, how'd you do that and you're not in the industry? Like, how you getting these certifications and you're not in the industry? And I'm thinking like, this is regular, right? Nobody's done this like that. So going in, people were hitting me up for jobs, and I'm going into the interviews, and they were talking about tools and services that I had no idea about. I was like, hold up, the certification didn't tell me. Well, hold on, bro. Like, what y'all talking about?
Google ain't teach me this,
Like,
bro.
Google ain't teach- I don't know what. And they always say, you know, you just need a little more experience. I'm sorry.
Right. That's real.
You know what I
That's
mean?
real. Yeah.
So I had to get back to the drawing board and really figure out what these companies, the services and tools they were using to solve problems outside of the cloud certifications I was learning, and build projects from that. And you know, I started doing that and started landing interviews and just really strategizing what I was talking about around what they were actually doing.
Yeah.
And I remember a company that I used to train called Linux Academy had a position open, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. It was almost like a senior level position, but I was like, I'm going for it. Someone just told me to apply, and they gave me a task to do a demo. And think about this, man. Like, everybody that's listening, think about this. Here's a person that I performed in front of thousands of people. I've done music videos before. I even, you know, I'm not a shy person when it comes to talking in front of people or anything. But this demo that they gave me scared me so bad that I literally sat in the bed and told my wife, I'm going to call the manager and tell him that I'm going to pass up on this position because I was so scared to.
Because it was new.
Because it was new.
Right. It was new. Right.
So
Right.
she sat up in her bed and, excuse me, y'all, she's like, if you don't get your ass in there.
Shout out to the wife.
And she was like, if you don't
You need that. You need that throwing in the side.
That's
she's
what's
like,
up,
you
man.
don't stop being
Love
scared
love
and do that demo. And I did the demo, and it came to me and was like, your demo was great. We loved it.
Nice.
However, we hesitant to hire you for this role because most of the people in this role have like 8 years of experience. But I was like, man, so, you know, I tried it, I failed. And he hit me, he was like, but I created a position for you yesterday, bro.
But God.
He said,
Look at God.
Yo, look at God, bro. Listen, you got to understand this. I wasn't going to apply, and I wasn't going to do the demo once I applied. But then I did everything that my wife and God told me to do, and he opened the door, and dude said, I created a role for you yesterday. He was like, here's the salary, here's the job description. I looked at the salary, I said, I don't care what you want me to do. I don't need, bro, what you, toilets? Here we go, let's go.
We getting it.
We getting it. So I got into the industry, and I started getting people in my inbox on LinkedIn like, hey man, oh my God, your story inspires me. How can I get in the cloud? And these were people I was looking at, and they were like 20 years experience in the tech industry already. And I was like, bro, like, what can I do for you? Because, like, I just got here. It's nothing that I feel like I can do for you. You've been here. But what I realized was, that too, and what I realized was when it came to cloud was so new to people that even if you were in a tech role, if you haven't touched cloud, it's like you're starting over again.
I was going to say, there's some of the things that they were doing are basically outdated.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
And just real quick, for those that don't know, you're talking like on premises of where you are versus it being, you know, in the internet cloud. For those that don't know.
When you talk about cloud, you talking about storage, computing power. You talking about all that that's virtual, where a company allows you to rent it from them, and they'll take care of all the other stuff for you. You could just deploy your stuff in a virtual environment instead of having your setup at home or in an office in the closet with fans, if that makes sense. So I started, you know, putting it together. I started seeing a huge gap in, you know, people come to the platform that I work at and they train, and that was it, right? So it's like the question still became like, how do I get real experience? How do I really show this to be able to land a role? What do I do in interviews? Like, how can I conduct myself and network with people that's going to help change my life? For real, what can I do to learn step by step? What do I take?
Yeah.
Like, I want to be a cloud engineer. Step by step, what things do I need to learn that companies are doing right now? So I'm gonna say this. I shouldn't say it, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I like a dummy. I took it to the company that I was working for at the time and say, look, this is what I see out here. This is what I think we should be doing.
Right.
Because I thought, like, hey, they're gonna see potential in me and say, hey, you know, this guy is very valuable. He's useful. Let's promote him. Let's do something.
Hey,
oh, my
Charles,
God.
they created another position for him after that one.
Yo, listen. Yo, so listen. They hit me with the, no, I don't think that's going to work right now. I was like, okay, it's not going to work. But then yet, I started seeing them, hey, brothers, when you get into town, come on up. Design has a meeting they want to schedule for you. They want to talk to you about some things we want to implement in your content on LinkedIn. I'm like, so you don't want to use my ideas, but you want to use me
to promote the content,
their content,
right? To promote the content,
yeah.
right.
So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this on my own.
There you go.
And Level Up in Tech was born.
Hey.
It started off as Level Up with Broadus, right? Okay. So I started doing Level Up with Broadus content to just help motivate and point people in the right direction.
Right.
But I was like, you know what? If I blow this thing up and somebody wants to invest or even buy me out, it's going to be hard for them to buy Level Up with Broadus. Because I don't want to sell my name, number one. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I was like, you know what? Level Up in Tech. That's it. Okay. You know what I mean? And Level Up in Tech was born January 1st, 2020. And little do I know, when creating this cloud coaching program, this thing called COVID was coming.
Rona.
Right? And really what it did was increase my enrollment 500%.
Oh, 100%.
Because everything went to the cloud.
Everything's timing. Yeah.
500%. We went from... Hold
on, wait. Hey, we need a money noise. We got a money noise yet? We got a bag noise? We need a bag noise, man.
Yo, look, I got a ching-ching. Yo, so we didn't it was so many industries that were failing.
Yeah, man.
And the only 3 industries we seen at the time that was really stable and growing was healthcare. I call it retail grocery, and tech. Yeah. Like the grocery companies like Kroger, they was still getting it.
Yeah, they're rolling.
You know
people
what I mean?
need stuff.
Yeah, so
pickup.
And tech was really rolling, blowing up, and people just started coming like in droves, like, hey, can you help? Can you help? Can you help? And we was like, sure. And it was scary, man, because we was trying to I went from myself and then hiring like one of my homeboys to now we got 15 people contracting working at Level Up in Tech. You know what I'm saying? So it was
level up. So, level up. Hey, but and brothers, like as we come to a close too, though, want to make sure that we don't miss that point of, man, there's so many paths to get to your dream and to your goal.
For sure.
It's because people, man, sometimes think, all right, well, I got to go to this 4-year university, but as you said, you saw the writing on the wall, man, of like, this is how you can make this much money by doing it this way.
Yes.
And this is what it takes. And we need to preach that to our kids more. You know what I mean?
I would say this. If you're thinking about, it's nothing wrong with going to school, going to university or college. But if you're thinking about doing it because you want to get into tech, no. All you need is 6 months to learn what you need to learn. And you can get a role that's going to pay you entry level ranging from $80,000 to $106,000.
Yeah.
First foot in the door. Like if you come check out Level Up in Tech, our guests in our program are getting no offers lower than 80 coming out.
That's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? And this is, you talking about people from police officers, from call center reps, from radio broadcasters, from people who are in the industry as well, but they're like, tech support and all of that, trying to learn cloud, and it's able to learn what they need to learn. So even if it took you 6 months in a program and then another 6 months to land a role, but you went from 40 to 90, do you think you're going to get that raise at your current role?
Yeah.
Facts,
you know what I'm saying? They're not going to raise, they're going to give you that raise at your current role. You might come out with 41.5 next year working here. but you ain't gonna get no 90.
You right.
So that's the reality that I want everyone to see, that it's dedication and hard work, and you don't have to go to school and, was it Fannie Mae? Is it Fannie Mae or Sally Mae? Who was it?
Sally Mae.
Sally Mae.
Sally Mae. The devil, a.k.a. the devil.
Yeah, you don't have to. You ain't got to owe Sally Mae for 20 years.
So
on
says the loan advisor.
Hey, look, man. I can only call how I see it, bro. Hey, but real quick before we let you go, I also want to tell people, because I'm in banking. I'm a senior loan officer. Been in banking for a while, and I'm telling people in this environment now, and I think you'll probably agree with me. Getting into tech is so beneficial because now not only do you have high salaries, but companies are willing to let you work remotely. So
From
you
home,
can do this from everywhere. So you might want to relocate to, you might be in Charlottesville and say, you know what, I want to go to Florida, or I want to go to the West Coast. Now you have all these opportunities to relocate with your family, and you can still do things in the comfort of your own home. And that's one of the benefits I truly see about people getting into tech. You have so many opportunities to just do things you couldn't do before. The industry's changing.
Yeah, it's definitely changing. And this is an opportunity for you to make life-changing money, have time with your family, have a flexible schedule, where a lot of companies, as long as you do your work, they don't care what you're doing. Right? They're not expecting you to be available 24 hours. As long as you do what you're supposed to do, they're going to let you do what you want to do. It's LSHS, low stress, high salary for most positions.
Oh, I like that. Yeah,
for
man.
most positions.
Most.
You know?
I love that. Most. Not everybody, though.
Yeah, not everybody.
Brothers walking there like, this brother told me it's low stress, high salary.
Hey, so Broadus, man. So, before we let you go, levelupintech.com. I noticed on July 22nd, you just had a virtual open house, but folks can go to that website and learn more, right? And anything else you want to tell them coming up?
Yeah, levelupintech.com. If you want to check out our new cohorts, download the PDF. We have an overview of our system and how it works, what we can do for you. Hit that contact button, email us, we'll schedule a call. You can find me on LinkedIn at Broadus Palmer, find me on Facebook at Broadus Palmer, find me on Clubhouse, Mr. Level Up in Tech, find me on Twitter, Mr. Level Up in Tech, find me on IG, Mr. Level Up in Tech. Hey. So if you want to learn,
find me on the block.
Yeah, even if you don't know what this is and you just want somebody to point you in the right direction, contact me. We'll talk. Let's just have a conversation. And even if you're not a great fit for the program, I'm still going to point you in the right direction, show you what you need to do to take your career to the next level.
That's right.
Hey, man, we need a flex bomb drop on that bad boy right there.
Yeah, Broadus Palmer, man, thank you for joining us, my brother.
Hey, I appreciate
y'all,
man.
Continue success, as always, until we talk to you next time.
Thank y'all.
We live in a society in which structural racism is a very real thing. We are all dealing with that in every aspect of our lives, and the media is a reflection of our community.
Historically, black people have been portrayed a certain way in the media to justify normative assumptions around political and social issues.
More black people behind the cameras, in front of the cameras, more producers, more people of color producing, so they can go and get the content that's needed so they can highlight our attributes.
I've been in this industry for 15 years, and I've seen firsthand how our voices just aren't heard. Even if you're in the newsroom, sometimes you get completely ignored and stereotypes are allowed to perpetuate. And one thing we want to do is combat that, and also bring information to people so they can be as informed as possible when choices are made in this city, so they can do whatever they can to get their voices heard.
What I believe can be done about the situation is to have more people of color creating news stories, more people who have a interest in and a social consciousness that relates to the stories that they're telling.
Charlottesville Tomorrow looks at these issues. We can present them on IMHO. Vinegar Hill Magazine can take that a step further, and just together we can just make this thing that can be an example of how we can change the media landscape, how we can be more inclusive to get these voices in, to get these people heard. That's just one thing that doesn't happen in so many places, and it's a shame.
We think we live in a society that's very progressive, and we're talking about equity and diversity and inclusion and all these things. Still, the way that black people, and I would say, and I would argue, especially black men, are portrayed by the media is incredibly dangerous, and you've seen the sort of tangible violence that it's led to over the past year.
The community can support the SIM project by first and foremost giving us an opportunity. We understand that it can be difficult to give trust right now, especially considering the current social and political environment. But this project will only be as successful as the community allows it to be. And so we ask you to give us the opportunity to do the work, critique the work, and make sure that we stay aligned with the vision. Another way that the community can get behind the SIM project is through engagement. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you're talking about. We want to put your stories out there. And so whether it's reading the articles written by Charlottesville Tomorrow or Vinegar Hill Magazine, or tuning in to In My Humble Opinion on Sundays on 101.3 Jams from noon to 3 p.m., either way, we want you engaged. We want you to be part of this. The community can also support the SIM project through funding. To learn more about how to support SIM, you can visit our website. Thank you for your support.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.
We live in a society in which structural racism is a very real thing. We are all dealing with that in every aspect of our lives, and the media is a reflection of our community.
Historically, black people have been portrayed a certain way in the media to justify normative assumptions around political and social issues.
More black people behind the cameras, in front of the cameras, more producers, more people of color producing, so they can go and get the content that's needed so they can highlight our attributes.
I've been in this industry for 15 years, and I've seen firsthand how our voices just aren't heard. Even if you're in the newsroom, sometimes you get completely ignored and stereotypes are allowed to perpetuate. And one thing we want to do is combat that and also bring information to people so they can be as informed as possible when choices are made in the city, so they can do whatever they can to get their voices heard.
Listening to In My Humble Opinion, only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO Talk Show. Back like we never left. AA Ron.
I really mean it.
Yeah, y'all know who it is. WVI 101.3 Jams, Charlottesville's #1 for classics and interactive hip hop and R&B. And also reachable at www.101jams.com. Thank y'all if you're listening on your FM dial.
Yes, appreciate y'all.
Thank you if you're listening on your website. You're streaming us on the app, TuneIn, Amazon Alexa.
Your mama's old radio.
Hey, we just appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Because y'all helping us, rep for the family, rep for the Ville, getting the word out, bringing the word in, vice versa. It's all reciprocal. Let's keep reciprocating, AA Ron.
Keep reciprocating.
Hey, talk that money.
Say that 3 times fast.
Nah, I'm good. Talk that big talk. Keeping folks informed,
Absolutely.
as the Blastmaster KRS called it, edutained. Is what we're here to do. Edutainment.
Yes, sir.
Right? Informatics. All right, I need to quit. All right.
You making up words now, man.
Thank y'all for saying too, man. So far, great show. We told y'all, that it was going to be so. And Broadus Palmer was here from Level Up in Tech.
Dope brother, man. Broadus, excellent story. That was 35 minutes of, as my man Dylan says,
hot fire.
Spits hot fire.
Hot fire.
Spits hot fire, man. But excellent information. For people that are trying to get, you got the flex. There we go. But excellent information for people trying to get into the tech industry. This world is changing, and just the opportunities that are available without degrees and like he said, just using that brain to just learn how to take in information and learning, and man, you can earn an income that can change your family's life. So shout out to that brother, man, and everything they're doing that at Level Up in Tech.
Yeah, man, so well rounded. I hope the listeners were listening, man, because even if you want to get into one aspect, you gotta be about your business, and you gotta know how to diversify, because one channel may close up, and then you may gotta swim down another avenue. You know?
But he learned, man. But he talked about him. I didn't handle this right. I didn't handle this
Facts.
I didn't handle this right. And I think that when you have that humility, sometimes those blessings open up a little bit easier because you're open to the opportunities. You're not closed-minded.
Right. Exactly.
Yep, absolutely.
So, and as we said, our brother Nick Wright is going to be joining us too. No stranger to the family from WGC today. That mental health, man, it's definitely more prevalent and more accessible, right, for our people in our community. So we're going to talk about, some of the top topics and how that applies to all of us, man. Whether Simone Biles, so on and so forth. Naomi Osaka. Let's call it what it is. We're gonna have a real heart to heart. Y'all need to tune in for that. All my people, tell a friend. He's coming up here shortly. And then bottom hour 2, we're gonna kick that off with our friend Erin O'Hare from Seville Tomorrow. She's been a part of some stories that's top headlines here in Charlottesville for us right now.
Right.
Don't want to miss that. And Aaron gonna give his 10 cents to it.
That's all I got is 10. Oh, that is more than 2. So you're right.
Hey.
Yeah, you're right. It's a little bit.
Talking about the eviction prevention as well as the the housing vouchers, so on and so forth. But while we got a few more minutes, Ron.
What you got?
Brother to brother.
Brother to brother.
And hopefully people will stick through the end of the show because we're going to give them a little bit more at the end if they like what they're about to hear.
Right.
But nah, man, we talk about so much when it comes to us as a culture, particularly us as black men.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
And I think we have some pretty strong stances on when it comes to like our responsibility with these freedoms, because one that has come up that gets very irresponsible, I think we both agree, is what's called the cancel culture.
Absolutely.
And one thing that makes me think of, as I was sharing with you, it made me think of a term, that's something like defund, but who funds? And when I say defund, I know first thing people think is defund the police, right?
Right.
Like so that's one way to look at it. But if you think about what that means and what that represents, right? And if you do that, then what's gonna supplement for those services?
Right.
Who is serious about it? And then when I talk about defund, when we get rid of the strong black male within the family structure, who's gonna fill that role, right? When we talk about, like not allowing certain services, like the government shouldn't be paying for certain services. You have some people they say the people should take care of their own, and like churches should take care of it. Time is showing us that people don't step up. So when we defund,
that is a fact.
Who's gonna fund? You follow me?
The reality is that sometimes as cultures, we're very immature to what we want to do or what we're willing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times people say, we want the community to police it. Let's be honest. You don't even police your household. You don't even police your daughter. You don't even police your son. I mean, I don't know what people be talking about, Charles. I don't know what they really talking about.
See, we weren't even going there yet.
Yeah, but I went. Sorry, my bad. I'm just saying, like, I'm one of those first people that are gonna say, listen, if I got a burglar that attempts to come into my property or something of that nature, and if he gets past whatever, and I have to use force, I'm still calling the police, Charles. I don't understand.
Yeah, and like
I'm calling the police if I see a suspicious figure walking down the street, as you would.
Right. And as stated, that model, and the point of this conversation is that like that model paints the picture, right? It's like any integral part in our society or in our life that we want to eliminate for whatever reason or we feel is not significant enough, then first you got to have the plan. Kind of like our brothers was talking. There's many ways like that you can get to a goal, but you got to have a vision. You got to have a plan. You can't just say, I don't like it, something. You can't cancel.
Baby out with the bathwater, man. We do
you
that
can't
all the
cancel
time.
something that rubs you the wrong way when there's a benefit that will be lost along with it, and you don't know how you're going to replace that benefit.
There's a direct benefit.
The reward has to outweigh the risk.
Right. And we don't, and the thing is that particularly in our communities, we haven't structured it to where we have an alternative, because we need this. Let's be honest. In some of our communities, not all, in some of our communities, you need immediate assistance. In order for you to develop immediate assistance, you have to have, as you know, you have to have infrastructure. You have to have people available. Let's be honest. You may not like police officers. Whatever your stance is, you may not like that, if that's what you're talking about. Guess what? They're salaried people that are paid for by the government that work a certain schedule. What infrastructure do we have to where you're going to pay young men and young women to come work 13, 14 hours a day? Where the money coming from?
Hey.
Who going to pay them? Hey. We can't do no fish fry to pay those people.
Yeah.
That ain't going to work. So kind of people need to be serious.
You're a wild boy.
Yeah, I said fish fry. Because that's what y'all want to fish fry everything else. So
hey, but all right, man. Like, so brother to brother, because one thing that we do, man, and that I appreciate is that, like, beyond the business on a personal level, we try to hold each other accountable.
100%.
Because, like, we not ever up here in no bully pulpit and trying to act like we perfect by no means.
Not at all.
But life is an experience that you learn from, right? And how we make each other better and how we leave things better than how we found it is the goal and the key should be, right? So I'm real quick, Aaron. One thing that's has been on top of the radar when it comes to black men, self-respect, high performing. When you speak truth on that, some people don't like it, and I'm kind of confused on, like, is it that they don't want black men to have the self-respect, or they don't want to feel slighted when black men talk about their God-given role and position? But leading into that was a big way to say, bringing people up to speed about Kevin Samuels, for those who may know who he is and may not.
So people who are living in a box, because at this point, and I'm just look, we're having a conversation in the community. Like, this is at the spades table, okay? So most people, if you are a black person in the United States of America, actually, you know what, let me change that. If you're a person that's on social media, you probably know who Kevin Samuels is. He's an image consultant. He went from having, and mind you, I am a person that used to listen to Kevin Samuels about 4 years ago before he got super popular. because he was talking about men's empowerment, leveling up, being more of a professional, throwing certain things out your wardrobe, just having a better professional aspect as a man. But he became very, very popular for these different videos to where he's calling women average. He's giving ratings on women, calling them average. Now women are calling in, asking for their advice, asking for his advice. This is not voluntary. This is voluntary. So he's not forcing nobody. He's like, hey, I'm gonna give you $1,000 if you call into the show. Women are voluntarily calling into the show. And so he's been getting a lot of controversy. He's been getting a lot of controversy for some of his stances on dating, black male and female relationships, women's bad behavior, and how what he thinks, which is an opinion about how men and women should be conducting themselves. And there is a petition out right now to cancel him that was signed by 15,000 women because they
Just women though? You sure?
There might be a couple of you suckers brothers out there. I ain't gonna lie. There might be a couple of you suckers out there. But what noise you go? You gonna give me something? Give me something.
Stay neutral while you know what I mean? Like while you reporting this.
Nah, I ain't staying neutral. Nah. But no, there's definitely some other people out there. But to cancel him because somebody said that he was bringing more violence towards women. And I said, has anybody ever listened to the broadcast? Has anybody ever listened to the entire show? He got famous for a clip by telling a woman she's a 6 at best. You know? So.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So canceling him, we got to ask ourselves, is that what we want? Because if we cancel him, there's a lot of other stuff. I'm telling you this right now, Charles. We gonna start 4 petitions tonight.
So I'm sure people that may not be familiar with his style of motivational speaking or whatever you may want to call it, probably looking him up. But those who are, either way, I'll be the first to say that some things make me cringe. Some things I feel like could be better articulated. Right? But hey, since we're already controversial, let me go ahead and dive all the way in, the deep end.
Here we go.
It was kind of like with President Trump. It's kind of like that reminds me. And of course, the level of self-respect is nowhere near there. But my point is that people get wrapped up too much in the messenger and not the message. Meaning that people will be like, oh, well, like, I don't like the way such and such said this or said that. And don't get me wrong, I did not support Donald Trump at all. But my point is, too many times people would say something that they didn't like about terminology, language he used, whatever the case was, but missed whatever the point may have been. And I get he's at his own fault for not articulating it better for people to receive the point. Right? Now, enough of that clown. But with Kevin Samuels, I support what he does. Like, you know, when we're talking about Kevin Samuels, because the end goal, I feel like, man, that we can't just always get wrapped up again in the messenger instead of the message. Man, one of my favorite quotes is imperfect messenger, perfect message. So
That's
a lot of times, because the messenger is never going to be perfect. So as long as we're focusing on that, we're focusing on the wrong thing. Man, but yeah. So defund to who funds? If we cancel those like Kevin Samuels that are giving it to us straight, that are like, bro, here's what you need to step up on. Sis, that's what you expect out of a man? Here's what you need to step up on. But if we just want the easy way out all the time, don't want nobody to ever check us and hold us accountable on anything, man, we're going to stay miserable and constantly pointing fingers and placing blame.
Watch this. He's an older gentleman, just turned 50, wears a suit and wears cologne. If I know guys that are called pastors that stand up in pulpits that wear suits and cologne and tell you that men and women should not be having babies out of wedlock early. I need to know what the difference is. Now, that pastor might not tell you you're a 6. He might not tell you you're a 9. He might not tell you look like Kelly Rowland. But some of the
where'd that come from?
Kelly Rowland. I mean, Kevin always talk about Kelly Rowland. Don't get me started, man. He always talking about Kelly Rowland. But I think one of the problems that people actually have is that one of the main things is that he's talking to and you and I have talked about this just as men. He's talking about this segment of women out there that say they want this 6-figure guy to do this, to do this, to do this, to do this. And then when he starts to ask the women about, well, what do you bring to the table, or what are because the man has to have the requirement. But do you have any requirement aside from just being cute? And the answer is typically, well, I got a PhD, or I have this and I have that. And a lot of times what women don't understand is men, we don't care about those things. So he's having these conversations, and I'm not sure if women are comfortable in having those conversations. So here's an even better point, Charles. When he told me in a video, he wasn't talking directly to me, but he was like, hey, man, you in your late 30s, you in your mid 40s, you should not be broke as a man. You don't even deserve to have nobody sleeping with you. You shouldn't have no woman laying next to you in your bed if you are not where you're supposed to be. Should I have taken offense to that and said, you know what? I want somebody to tell me that a little bit different, Marshall. Tell me, Mr. Simmons, you're not economically stable right now, but you know, with a little work and a little prayer, I think you might get there, Aaron. You might get there. Nah, bro, you too smart to be this broke, man. That's how we function.
Yeah.
And so I was able to receive some of that messaging, and I was able to say, you know what, I got to step my game up. And if women don't want Kevin to say it, then why don't women say it to other women? Because if it was coming from a woman, would you like that message differently? I don't think they want the message from nobody. And as men, you and I talk about this, some of these messages that we have about operating with integrity, not out here being F-boys, I'm not going to say it on the radio, not out here taking care of our families, not accepting the responsibility to want to be the provider. Those are not easy messages to hear, but if our community is in such shambles, we don't have a choice but to hear those messages.
Right. It's been sugar-coated for too long. And
you want Joel Osteen. We've done that already. This ain't gonna work. Joel Osteen don't work no more.
Never did.
You've been Joel. Look, some of us, like you and I talk about, some of us been Joel Osteen and our kids all day long. And guess what? Sometimes they need a foot in there, you know what? You got to know the difference of when to do one and when to not do the other. And our community, to me, is and not just our community, but I just think humans in general. Because I don't want to beat up on us. Humans in general have a hard time of accepting harsh messages because we've almost been conditioned to, I need to hear that a little nicer. A little nicer might not, you and I know this, humans derive off of pain. Pain drives different behavior. If it always feels good, you ain't gonna do nothing different. Because you just want to feel good. Like Halle Berry said in Monsters Ball, I just want to make me feel good. We got too many Halle Berrys out here, men and women, man. Let me shut up before they shut me down and they try to cancel me. You can't cancel me, though.
Hey. You say you can't touch the untouchable. Hey, but man, no, that's the truth. And like I will ride out, with you on that to the day I die, no matter how much we try to, switch up. And try to simulate, man. We like to say, sometimes you just got to man up. I'm not going to stop saying it.
Nah.
Blackball me if you want to. Try to cancel me if you want to. But sometimes, brother to brother, you need to man up. That's, you know what I mean?
Ain't no other explanation. You ain't behaving right. You ain't moving out here. And women, I think if men and women are out here saying the same thing to each other, some of y'all gotta, man, I had a conversation with a lady last night. She's talking about a friend of hers that's in her late 50s, bad behavior. And I said, man, if y'all leave that conversation without you saying, you know what, I'm glad I was able to listen, but if you talk to me again about this same problem and you are not talking about what you're gonna do differently, please don't call my phone.
Right.
Sometimes that's the way the conversations have to be. That's the way my brother talks to me. Like, hey, you know what, that's you, I'ma holler at you. And sometimes that's the way it need to be.
Big facts. Man, on that note, let's go ahead and take a quick break because I got a feeling Nick got some fire he's going to bring in here for us after that one.
Dialogue.
Yeah, so Counselor WGC today, Nicholas Wright will be joining us next, man. Y'all don't want to miss it. We're going to get his opinion on that as well as, like I said, going to the mental health right now that our athletes are facing. IMHO Talk Show. Feel free to hit us during the break. 434-422-9101.
He's phone.
We live in a society in which structural racism is a very real thing. We are all dealing with that in every aspect of our lives, and the media is a reflection of our community.
Historically, black people have been portrayed a certain way in the media to justify normative assumptions around political and social issues.
More black people behind the cameras, in front of the cameras, more producers, more people of color producing, so they can go and get the content that's needed so they can highlight our attributes.
I've been in this industry for 15 years, and I've seen firsthand how our voices just aren't heard. Even if you're in the newsroom, sometimes you get completely ignored and stereotypes are allowed to perpetuate. And one thing we want to do is combat that and also bring information to people so they can be as informed as possible when choices are made in this city, so they can do whatever they can to get their voices heard.
What I believe can be done about the situation is to have more people of color creating news stories. More people who have a interest in and a social consciousness that relates to the stories that they're telling.
Charlottesville Tomorrow looks at these issues. We can present them on IMHO. Vinegar Hill Magazine can take that a step further, and just together we can just make this thing that can be an example of how we can change the media landscape, how we can be more inclusive to get these voices in, to get these people heard. That's just one thing that doesn't happen in so many places, and it's a shame.
We think we live in a society that's very progressive, and we're talking about equity and diversity and inclusion and all these things. Still, the way that black people, and I would say, and I would argue especially black men, are portrayed by the media is incredibly dangerous, and you've seen the sort of tangible violence that it's led to over the past year.
The community can support the SIM project by first and foremost giving us an opportunity. We understand that it can be difficult to give trust right now, especially considering the current social and political environment. But this project will only be as successful as the community allows it to be. And so we ask you to give us the opportunity to do the work, critique the work, and make sure that we stay aligned with the vision. Another way that the community can get behind the SIM project is through engagement. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you're talking about. We want to put your stories out there. And so whether it's reading the articles written by Charlottesville Tomorrow or Vinegar Hill Magazine, or tuning in to In My Humble Opinion on Sundays on 101.3 Jams from noon to 3 p.m., either way, we want you engaged. We want you to be part of this. The community can also support the SIM project through funding. To learn more about how to support SIM,
you're listening to In My Humble Opinion, only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles A.A. Ron. And as promised, IMHO family, listeners, we are live. Tell a friend, tell a friend. Whether you're on the 101.3 FM dial, 101jams.com, your favorite FM streaming app, or check this out. We're going to direct some traffic. This is what I want y'all to really tell a friend, tell a friend. Tell your mama, your daddy, your sister, brother, cousin, the dude in the alley,
Uncle Chico that only come over for the chitlins.
That's right. Everybody. That we are live on YouTube, the Tizu. We are on, and so y'all can go right now. The link is in our bio on our IG page to see the live video stream on YouTube. It's on the 101 Jams Facebook page. It is on the IMHO Facebook page. And make sure you subscribe. Don't just tell and go and look at it, but subscribe and share it. Please do, because we are here for you. All right? That's what we do. And speaking of being here for you, while Aaron and I were out here being our honest selves, being our authentic selves as black males, my man Nick Wright from WGC Today was waiting in the wing.
Hey, what's going on? Appreciate you guys having me.
What's up?
I heard the discussion.
Yeah, man.
K-Dot, Kevin Samuels.
Yeah, man. Go ahead and give us your professional opinion. Tell us how we wrong, Nick.
All right,
tell us how we wrong.
Let me preface. No, because I'm going to put him on the spot. All right.
Let's do it.
So we were talking about him being canceled. Let's be clear.
Okay.
Canceled means that, you know what that means. Get him out of here. He shouldn't have no show. He shouldn't have no voice.
All right.
So just make sure. I just want to be clear. That's all.
I mean, I'm open to the freedom of speech, but I'm still, this is PG-13, so I can't tell you how I really feel. That's where I'm at with Kevin Samuels. Get him up out of here. I feel like Kevin Samuels is too degrading to black women. He's always calling them mediocre. And I feel like black women, man, they work too hard. And you're going to let this man, stop letting this man break up your household. Kevin Samuels has boosted my couples counseling. Literally.
That's deep, yo.
But that's a good thing.
That's deep.
No, it's not. That's cancel.
No, man. They talking about the problem, dude. No.
Man, no. Their relationship was working out well, and then Kevin Samuels came. And Kevin felt like he had the desire to tell men how to be men. Don't let that man mess up your household.
And I agree with you because there's certain aspects of what he says that I agree with and I don't agree with.
Right. Like
and I agree with what you just said. It's like, look, if your car is driving fine, don't look at the Audi next door. Keep driving the car the way your thing need to be driving.
Right.
So I'm with you. You can't take in every message. And not even just Kevin Samuels. There's a lot of things that I like that I don't listen to.
Yeah.
I don't listen to this. I don't listen to this.
Yeah.
Just because it's popular in pop culture don't mean it need to be for me and my family and my relationship.
Right. Now, Nick, so my thing is, like, how do we filter it, though? Because, again, all right, so there's some people who misinterpret messages.
Yeah.
Sometimes that message wasn't for you, kind of like Aaron was just saying. So for the folks who listen to it and be like, yo, if the brothers, I feel like the brother's telling me that if I'm expecting so much out of other people, then I need to expect that much more out of myself. So is that so because of the way that he's portraying it, and it may not just be him, let's kind of get off of him.
Yeah.
But like anybody out there that's at risk of being canceled just for the simple fact of you are blunt with your message, is that enough, or does the reward outweigh that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can kind of see where you're going with it. I think for consumption of information, right? So if we're looking at it from that perspective, that the reality is, I don't know where I got it from, but sip through the straw, don't drink through the cup. So don't just indulge in Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels is not the gospel, right? You can take bits and pieces and filter through it, but he's also an entertainer, and don't let him mess up your household. It's like telling your girl or your significant other not to have a whole bunch of single friends and y'all married or y'all in a relationship, because now she's gonna look at those single things like, man, they living the life.
Yeah,
but that's not the reality. You know, they want to have that significant other. It's nice. Love is a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
You know, and Kevin Samuels always talks about the pros, but we also got to look at the cons, right? Because the pros sell themselves, and that's a project management standpoint. The pros always sell themselves, but you got to look at the cons and see if that's worth dealing with. Kevin doesn't talk about that. And Kevin needs to talk about some other races and get off my black women.
So to be totally clear, like, we stay uplifting our sisters and give them their credit because, I know Aaron and I have talked about they've had to, the shoulder so much because we were absent. And when I say we, I'm talking about, like the general plural, we as black men, not being there sufficiently for our households and our community, right? So no disrespect at all. But the part that I do get, though, is that I don't care if you black, white, I don't care what color woman you are. If you out here raggedy and dusty, as they say, but you want six figures, a six-figure, you know what I mean? And you want like all this lifestyle, but you don't match up to it, bro. I mean, you can get called out about that. To me, that ain't disrespecting my sisters, Yeah.
And I think and I want to get into some of the things we're going to talk about to him, but I also realize what Kevin does show me is that what a materialistic society we have become. Because a lot of the things that we're talking about, a lot of the things we're talking about are kind of like, well, we're not talking about healthy relationships. Right. We're just trying to get you into the woman is calling to say, I want this relationship with this kind of guy, and he's giving you the information, but I'm stopping and even saying to myself, well, you didn't say you want a healthy relationship, an honest man, a man of integrity, or anything in the nature. Right. You just say, if you can get me a Beamer and I can stay home with these babies, I feel good. Yeah. And you and I both know that is not how healthy relationships work.
Yeah, and that's what Kevin, that's his focal point. But in all actuality, I have great women who are engaged in a rocky relationship because Kevin Samuels makes this man believe or that their significant other is now materialistic. She wasn't materialistic when they got together. She cares about you as a person. She don't care if you're a truck driver. She doesn't care if you own the CEO of a company, if you're an everyday people, hard worker. She doesn't care. She just wants somebody who's loyal, allows her to have an opinion, and respects her for being the woman that she is. And No,
I feel you.
Kevin makes people think that everybody materialistic, and that's not the case. It's a lot of great women.
point,
out
man.
I feel you.
There's a lot of great people.
No, man, thank you, man, and thank you for even chiming in on that.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, man, we have Nicholas Wright, WGC Today, counselor. That's how we do it. We throw you in the deep end up in here, Nick. You know us by now. Throw you right in the deep end. Hey, man, but on a very serious note, and but it's gonna be just as touchy because let's be real with our people. Like this is. Like when you sit at the table with us, it's family convo. Y'all know that by now, family. So Nick, WGC Today, man, we asked a brother to come on to talk about sports and mental health because what's apparent, and I want your take, Nick, on, are more of our black, celebrity stars, just folks in the limelight about their mental health, partially because we, we as a community are more receptive to therapy and counseling now more so than we've ever been. Just in general to black families that I know that there's folks who say God will take care of it. We were preaching that for years, but now like because of our sort of evolution, we are more receptible to it. Is that why we're seeing more of it? But on the flip side, I want us to be as real as we can be because, like I said, I'm sensitive to mental health. We all should be going through some sort of therapy to deal with past traumas and all that. I'm sure you brothers would agree. Yeah. But on the flip side, where's that line of us sometimes toughing through? Like I'm trying to say this very respectfully because anybody who has a serious mental health issue, I'm not trying to make light of it, seriously. But some may say, athletes have been like out in the limelight forever. Yeah. Athletes have had pressure forever. Why is it now that it's okay to step back? Like, why is it now okay to say that even though I'm making millions of dollars to do this, I have the right to step back? Just a question.
Yeah.
Like, but start however you want to start, though, Nick.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I think first and foremost, we got to change the stigma surrounding mental health, especially as it comes to sports. I'm not going to dive into like toxic masculinity today, but I mean, there's a lot going on, right? So you get hurt on the football field, you're a pee-wee sports player, throw some dirt on it, you'll be all right, all the way to push through, right? So there is that line, get back on defense versus get some mental health or see a counselor, right? So there is that line, and I think it comes down to the reality of knowing your player and knowing that person, and also we got to change the stigma surrounding it. The way we treat mental health now is the way that they treated concussions like 20 years ago. If you're feeling depressed, just go sleep it off. But that's not the way that it is. Athletes have an anxiety attack. Oh, just tell them to calm down.
Right.
Just calm down. No, we care more about physical ailments than we do mental ailments.
Man, I gotta say this because you said it. So one of the things, did you watch the NBA Finals?
A little bit.
Yeah. The best player on the court, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Ooh, good job.
I said that good.
Big
Marshall,
facts.
I did that good. But in the beginning of the games, he was so hyper. He had to call himself out of the game, take a breather, take a rest. And the commentators were saying, I've never seen a guy because we're so used to, Jordan wouldn't do that and all this foolishness. And I'm like, but the transparency of him to say, I'm too hype, I cannot perform at this level. I need about 3 or 4 minutes to get myself together. What you just said, it triggered that because I'm like, I just saw somebody perform at the top of the line that had to even take himself out of the game. How important is it for us to see those images of these people that we worship taking a break in a moment for themselves?
No, it's very important. I mean, let's normalize it, right? Serena Williams, Delonte West, Terry Bradshaw, Ronda Rousey, Ricky Williams, Miami Dolphins, right? All these people have experienced anxiety and depression, and these are all elite athletes at the highest level. And we got to pay attention to it because if you see somebody, these people don't want to take off for their mental illness concern. They're an athlete. You know, if you give up your spot, someone's going to try to outperform you. These different things are going on. Right. And there's also that stigma. People are even afraid to even go into a counselor office because they're like, man, I'm one of those people. I mean, honestly, if you're out there and you're listening, raise your hand if you've ever had a physical ailment. All right? Now, raise your hand if you've ever been depressed or wanted to go to see a counselor. there's usually there's an awkward pause.
To admit that, right.
That's the stigma right there. It shouldn't be like that.
Right.
You know, if someone walks in with their ankle swollen and they're limping, the trainer's gonna make you take a day off. They will make you not play. But if you say, hey, coach, I'm having insomnia and depression, you're just looked down upon.
Yeah.
You can't handle it. Right. You're not mentally tough. Right. That's what they say. Yeah.
You're weak for wanting a break. So we have to change that stigma. And I think that's what we kind of saw, right? In the Olympics, a couple weeks, this past week, actually. Yeah. So, I mean, by Simone doing what she needed to do for herself, I think that really helped the culture in terms of the mental health aspect. Because in all actuality, I mean, I got a lot of athletes on my roster unintentionally, but I'm glad that, you know, I'm here for it. But life during sports and then also life after sports.
That's true.
It's a lot for these athletes as it relates to anxiety, depression, performance anxiety. You go to sleep, you wake up, we're 1 minute late. Everybody on your team has to run extra drills because you're late to practice. And then at that point in time, they looking at you like, come on, what you doing? In all actuality, you're still having crying spells throughout the week.
Right.
So you got to have that safe space to land and find that balance. It helps if you can keep that routine in place. I encourage the coaches to know their player, focus on, sometimes it helps to just focus on the now and get that breathing down. And, of course, sleep hygiene, and don't hesitate to reach out. But I mean, it's toxic.
I was just going to add one more thing, Charles, to what he said too, real quick. I think people they don't also understand, and let's just look at Simone for a second. This is 4 years of preparation, work, practice, every day with coaches to get to, you and I know, this is the pinnacle. This is what I'm here to perform for. And if you take off this, we need to be looking at this, okay, this was because this is what she's here for. She's the face of the Olympics. And people are questioning her. I'm like, she's been doing this every day for the last 4 years to get to this point. And for her to say, I can't handle this now, and there's something going on, it's a lot more serious. To me, it's a lot more serious than we all even know.
Not to mention the athletic trainer that was sexually assaulting the young ladies in gymnastics.
Yeah, she was still dealing with that.
100%.
Trauma exists, and I mean, it's one thing to be like, get back on defense. And I mean, that is respected in a sense as it relates to certain sports. But if a student says, hey, coach, I'm not good. That's a good relationship.
Wow.
He actually spoke to you. He or she actually spoke to you. So we want to make sure that platform is available for the athletes to say, hey, I'm not good. And you need to receive it and help that student, because you can really change their life. You know, the idea of hurry up, get back out there. He's soft, she's soft. You know, we gotta encourage mental health counseling. I've worked with a couple teams as it relates to just doing some positive affirmations. And just help them with their breathing before practice. Sometimes even just doing that stretching workout with the track teams, you see a lot. Prolific, shout out to Prolific. They do a lot of mental health mixed in with their exercise routines as well.
Right. Yeah.
What were you saying?
Man, it's something that I'm still struggling with a little bit, y'all. Like, I gotta be real. Like, let's keep it 100.
Yeah.
Because like everything that we're saying is real about you know, like the sensitivity and the importance of, you know, self-awareness and knowing your limit, right? Knowing your threshold.
Sure.
But at the same time, man, like I just fear, because of what I'm already seeing in society, that we don't make too many excuses. Like I fear that we are making too many excuses. Like you feel what I'm saying? It's like, because there's a very thin line to me, like that we're drawing, and I just don't want to underestimate that, because to me that thin line is like, I see like I also see a culture of, if I don't want to do it, I don't have to do it. And I just don't want those lines to be blurred, because I see that getting blurred. You know what I mean? And
I agree with that.
You follow me?
Yeah, no, I
like
agree
accountability
with that.
counts.
But I think as it relates to athletes, it's different though, because they want the ship. They want to go. But if you're crying every single day, but you're still showing up, you gotta ask for help, and that's the reality that the athletes really experience. And they can't show hurt. They can't show emotion. That's the line. Now, if you're just talking about a teenager who doesn't want to get a job, they want to hang out with their friends all summer. You know, now that's a different line.
Right,
You know,
right.
I'm depressed.
But that's where I'm going with it, though.
You're not depressed. You need to get.
Thank you.
We got to find that balance.
Yo, man, give Dick a bomb, man. You need a bomb for saying that. That's for sure.
But the difference is, right, so when it comes to mental health, it's really about cross-discipline. Right? So is it affecting you in multiple areas of your life? Now, if you only get depressed when it's time to clean up,
guess what? You ain't depressed.
It's time for you to get hype and clean up. Now, we need to work on some techniques.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Cross-discipline.
You guys can relate to this, right?
Big. Yeah.
The best way to clean up, turn some music on.
Get the trap going. Get the Jeezy going.
Marvin.
Jeezy helped me clean up good.
So it's the techniques, right? So we can teach that teenager the techniques to help you with that area. But as it relates to depression, we don't want to minimize it and say it doesn't exist, because it does amongst teenagers and everyone, especially men. Men, I mean, look, we're also, men are the highest with suicide rates as well, right? So we want to be
very high. Yep.
Be respectful of that as well. But again, it's about cross-discipline. Is it happening at school? Is it happening in your social life? Is it happening at work? Is it happening? Is it happening in all these different areas? You know, when you're trying to have recreation time, are you having panic attacks? Are you having panic attacks just when it's time to go to work, or are you having panic attacks related to when it's time to go on vacation as well? You know, so now we can say, okay, there's some substance behind this, and we're also looking at frequency. How long has this been going on, and how often are these things happening in a time span? And then we can kind of paint the picture. But I mean, a lot of these things can present themselves in different ways. They can be, you know, biological predispositions, so genetically passed down.
Yeah.
It's just the reality of mental health. Come see a counselor. Come check us out, wgctoday.com. We're here to help. I mean, we got free 15-minute consultations to help people get involved and get enrolled. Right now, we're accepting Anthem Insurance. The billing person I have working for me is in the process of getting us connected with Cigna, United,
That's
Anthem.
what's up, man.
I'm already with Anthem, Aetna, and
Everybody.
getting some Medicaid. Yeah, you hear me?
Like everybody.
Not everybody,
but trying to get there, everybody. Yeah.
That's my favorite price, too, that free 99 that he said.
He got a job. Make sure he pay.
Can you fix all my problems in that 15 minutes?
I've had people try. Set up multiple 15, and the way I'm set up, I care. So I'm sitting there trying to talk to them and give them some techniques. And you know what? Just try back next week. You know, let's space it out. Let's do bi-weekly.
Yeah. That's what's up, man.
No, man, Nick, thanks as always, man. Always great insight. Definitely love it coming from a fellow brother. Good talk, man. I hope y'all really learn from it and follow up with Nick and the services that he offers. Because it's so deep and so important, especially our youth. As he mentioned, you could be a high school athlete. You could just be feeling the pressures as an adult in whatever you do. But that mental health, self-awareness is so important.
Yeah, I was going to ask you real quick if we got time. How do you guys feel about, concussions as it relates to sport of football?
I can answer this question directly. I can answer this question directly.
Yeah.
My son was playing youth football in a league where we live about maybe 8 years ago.
Yeah.
During that season, he had 3 concussions. Ask him if he's played another down of football.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to pay attention to it.
That was a me decision.
I ain't mad.
And he's asked consistently and constantly, I want to play. But his level of drive is because my guys are there. He's hooped or whatever. He's good at other things. But I said the next one could cause permanent damage.
Right.
Now,
And I'm not willing to. No, not even at a high level.
Football?
Yeah, I played basketball in high school a little bit. Yep.
Concussion.
And it's one of those things where I'm just like, when people, you watch those movies, and when people started really describing, it's like basically running into a wall at a certain speed every time, and the body's not designed to do that. They're gladiators, but I don't know the long term. Just now in the last 10 years have we been starting to really figure out what's been happening.
Right.
Can you imagine if we were doing research for 50 years? We might not even have a sport. So you just got to know your kids. I think the thing you said is you have to know your child. You have to know their temperament. You have to know whether or not, I don't know, man, but as you know, we've been seeing a lot of stuff in the news, and it's not been good.
Yeah,
it has not been good, man. But that's just my take.
But I think the toxic masculinity that Nick talked about feeds into it as well.
Right.
Because I don't agree with you'd be like, oh, like you're a boy, you're supposed to be out there playing such and such sports. But if the kid ain't made out for him, then you just sort of like sending a lame duck out there. You
Right,
know what I mean?
to get smashed.
Right. So it's
That
like
is not good.
Yeah. You know, like so it's good, and I applaud you for that. You know, like that you didn't let that toxicity, you know, like sort of, you know, like interrupt your parenting, and you was focused on what was best, you know, for his health.
Yeah, no, I just think about the Junior Seau, the Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just those people that just take all those hits. I mean, you got to find
Yeah.
that balance. If your kid's reaching out and they're saying, I don't want to play anymore after a big hit or something to that atonement, let's look at track. Let's look at, there's so many more sports. Because I'm all about scholarship skills in my household. You don't got to play football.
That's right.
You don't got to
Yep.
play basketball, but you're going to get you a scholarship skill. So whatever that
And it's
looks
all
like.
tools, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like academic scholarship, sports scholarship, tools, man. The last thing I'll say to you, because you made me think of it. So everybody remember Dominique Dawes, the former Olympic gymnast.
Yeah.
Like so, she has her own gym. Yeah, and one of the things she pointed out was that in her like gymnastics organization, she said the goal is never Olympics. Because she knows like the culture there, and she knows you know, the toxic culture and the stresses that come with it. She said number one is to make you a happy adult, right? And just happy like within whatever your level of performance is.
Right.
But this Olympic goal and like selling yourself to achieve these goals, you know, at the sake of your well-being, she said she's totally against it. So I definitely applaud her for
Even
that.
golf. I think more people should look at golf. There's this guy I follow on Instagram, Clay Winnell. He does this, you can send him a video of your golf swing and he'll fix it. And he'll reply back to you and give you a tip on what you need to do.
dope.
So I really enjoy watching him. He's a good one. He always does Tuesdays in Dallas. I don't know. He's
stuff.
got a good golf
That's
swing,
dope,
though.
man.
But
So many
other-
resources, man.
It's so many people that come into golf late. I mean, we love golf, but it's like our retirement sport.
Yeah, a
It's
bunch of
so-
us, we out here looking like Chuck, looking like Charles Barkley in this joint.
Yeah. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we have just been talking to Nick Wright of WGC Today, and y'all follow his IG if you don't follow nothing else, because the brother got some of the best motivational videos I've ever seen. Shouts out to him for that. But Nick, man, continue success, man, and thank you for the service you provide to the community.
Thank you. I appreciate being a part of it. Again, WGC Today, WGC Today on Instagram or WGCtoday.com.
Awesome.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Until next time, Nick, and y'all stay tuned. Next up, we have Aaron O'Hara coming up, and Aaron Simmons and I are gonna close it with some more dialogue. So y'all hit us up, let us know what you may want to hear. And also, like we said, the beefs are going on. Lupe Royce, the Versus is coming up. Locks, Dipset. If you got any requests, IMH Show Talk Show online every which way. And also here at the station 434-422-9101. This is Charlottesville's #1 for classics and interactive hip hop and R&B. WVAI 101.3 Jams, 101jams.com.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.
We live in a society in which structural racism is a very real thing. We are all dealing with that in every aspect of our lives, and the media is a reflection of our community.
Historically, black people have been portrayed a certain way in the media to justify normative assumptions around political and social issues.
More black people behind the cameras, in front of the cameras, more producers, more people of color producing, so they can go and get the content that's needed so they can highlight our attributes.
I've been in this industry for 15 years, and I've seen firsthand how our voices just aren't heard. Even if you're in the newsroom, sometimes you get completely ignored and stereotypes are allowed to perpetuate. And one thing we want to do is combat that, and also bring information to people so they can be as informed as possible when choices are made in the city, so they can do whatever they can to get their voices heard.
What I believe can be done about the situation is to have more people of color creating news stories, more people who have a interest in and a social consciousness that relates to the stories that they're telling.
Charlottesville Tomorrow looks at these issues. We can present them on IMHO. Vinegar Hill Magazine can take that a step further, and just together we can just make this thing that can be an example of how we can change the media landscape, how we can be more inclusive to get these voices in, to get these people heard. That's just one thing that doesn't happen in so many places, and it's a shame.
We think we live in a society that's very progressive, and we're talking about equity and diversity and inclusion and all these things. Still, the way that black people, and I would say, and I would argue, especially black men, are portrayed by the media is incredibly dangerous, and you've seen the sort of tangible violence that it's led to over the past year.
The community can support the SIM project by first and foremost giving us an opportunity. We understand that it can be difficult to give trust right now, especially considering the current social and political environment. But this project will only be as successful as the community allows it to be. And so we ask you to give us the opportunity to do the work, critique the work, and make sure that we stay aligned with the vision. Another way that the community can get behind the SIM project is through engagement. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you're talking about. We want to put your stories out there. And so whether it's reading the articles written by Charlottesville Tomorrow or Vinegar Hill Magazine, or tuning in to In My Humble Opinion on Sundays on 101.3 Jams from noon to 3 p.m., either way, we want you engaged. We want you to be part of this. The community can also support the SIM project through funding. To learn more about how to support SIM, you can visit our website. Thank you for your support.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.
Pediatric
cancer strikes 44 kids every day in our country alone. Hyundai is helping the fight right in our own backyard with a recent grant donation of $300,000 to the University of Virginia Health Systems. Jim Price is committed to helping people, society, and the planet. For more info, it's jimpricehyundai.com or HyundaiHopeOnWheels.org.
Hold on, wait.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion, only on 101.3 Jams.
I am H.O. Talk Show, Sir Charles, A.A. Ron. Yeah. And we are joined, by, as promised, by Erin O'Hare. And she is a reporter for the Seville Tomorrow, which you all know very well. That is one of our partners within the Seville Inclusive Media Project. And this, y'all are familiar with a lot of our family over there at Charlottesville Tomorrow. But this is Erin's first time on WVAI Jam, so y'all show us some love. And thank you for joining us, Erin.
Thanks for having me.
You doing well?
Yeah, I am.
Good. Regardless of all the madness.
Yes, regardless of all the madness, I am doing well.
Awesome.
I, enjoy my job. I'm happy to be here. It's cool to be on a different radio station.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, go ahead and let the people know where they can find you, and your official position at Seville Tomorrow.
Sure. So I'm the equity reporter at Charlottesville Tomorrow, but I worked at Seville Weekly previously as the arts and culture reporter, so a lot of folks might know me from that role. But I've been with Charlottesville Tomorrow since March. I've lived in Charlottesville 12 years today, so been here a while, pretty familiar with the community. I love this community. Despite all of the challenges, there are just so many amazing people who live here.
Absolutely.
You know that.
Yeah.
I just want to say, when there's an Aaron with an E and an Aaron with an A in the building, it's going to be the greatest show ever.
Pretty much.
Proceed.
Mm-hmm. Double trouble.
There you go.
Yeah, see, I'm sitting here thinking, how am I going to discern? I'm going to say Aaron and Erin, or,
Well, it's funny because I can always tell where someone is from based on how they pronounce my name.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So to me, like Erin, like Ehrin, is how I'm from Boston. So that's how my
Makes
family
sense.
would say it, Erin.
Okay.
So Aaron, but then here it's Aaron. Does that sound different to?
Just a little bit.
Okay,
It does.
because some people will look at me like, I don't hear any difference. I'm like, that's
And people
cool.
from Maryland say my name is Ern.
Ern.
And that's a difference.
Yep. I got that too. When I went to college in Maryland, it was Ern.
Ern.
Yeah.
And you there's an I and an N in there somewhere. But anyway, let's keep moving.
Yeah, keep it moving. Yeah. But yeah. So glad you could join us because there are some pressing headlines right now for our city. For those that don't know, when we're talking about eviction prevention as well as housing vouchers in particular.
Yeah, where should we start?
Yeah, where should we start?
Maybe with the eviction moratorium ending.
Yes.
So
Which was just yesterday, right?
Yeah,
July
it was
31st.
midnight.
And it was already extended a month.
It was.
Yeah.
And before that, it had been extended
Multiple, yeah.
even to then. So, and it's a bad time for it to expire because Delta is just, we're seeing numbers unlike, we have before, really. And children are really vulnerable in this particular, more so than the original variant, I guess you could say.
Right.
So it's a really bad time for an eviction moratorium.
Absolutely.
To expire. And I think it's unfortunate that we even need one at all, right?
Yeah.
Evictions are a huge problem, even in Charlottesville. Pre-pandemic, 2019, there were an estimated 700 eviction filings in Charlottesville. So eviction filings means the landlord files the eviction, right? That doesn't include the people who saw the eviction notice on their door when they got home and just pretty much evicted themselves.
Wow.
So that's 700 filings for homes.
Yeah, and before.
Before the pandemic, that was 2019, and about half of them did result in an eviction, which, for anyone who doesn't know, unfortunately, having an eviction on your record
Makes it very difficult to get additional housing.
absolutely, and and then the action of the eviction itself is just, it tips off an avalanche of
Negative,
I mean, if you can't afford to pay your rent, which is the number one reason most people are evicted, how are you going to be able to pay first and last month's rent and a security deposit on a new place? Your kid might have to change school districts. You might have to move further from work or your family. And if you don't have a car or reliable access to public transportation, that's a problem. It can impede your access to food. We don't have great public transportation here. For people to get to grocery stores. And we don't even have a lot of grocery stores.
Right, and the ones we do have, they're hard to get to. Right.
Yes,
right.
exactly. And
Wow.
so, you know, and so yeah, an eviction can just lead to just, you know, it's a bad thing.
Yeah. Now let me pose this to you all though: the landlord is a businessman. Like, so how much onus is being put on the landlord that's actually deserved? You know, someone who's saying, this is my stream of revenue. I'm just handling business. Like, I'm sorry for your situation. And, you know, and I think that leads into, like, you know, what resources has the city and the community kind of come up with to help combat this? But, you know, but I'm curious on both of y'all's opinion on that is, you know, because a lot of times landlords said, hey, you know, I'm just handling business. You know, I'm sorry for your bad luck, but
yeah,
I got bills too.
As somebody that's in financing, I can just say that, you know, the landlord typically has a mortgage on a property that he is responsible to pay, which is an IOU to the bank. And there's only so long that if you think a tenant has only so long, the landlord has more of a risk to possibly foreclosure filings are actually up a little bit nationwide. And so the landlords have to also be aware that not only, okay, I might have to evict the tenant, but I also might lose a property. And that's the problem that I think that most people aren't looking at. It's a difficult situation. Aaron and I were talking about this before the show started. I think there's this unfortunate perception that these landlords are out here that are just super wealthy and they've got all this money and they're sitting on all these properties. That cannot be anything further from the truth. Some of these people they're people like you and I that own a rental property. It's a single family. They're trying to get $1,500 a month, and you have somebody that lost their job, and they may not have all these reserves to make a mortgage payment while you can't pay rent. That is a real thing, and we're not talking about that. And so how do we help the people, the families that are going to be out on the street? But then it's also, now we have a landlord that might end up losing a property, and that's going to affect them financially negatively. And now, trust me, I don't want to conflate things. A family being evicted is a lot different from a landlord losing a property, but they are still two catastrophic events that can happen.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, I haven't talked to many landlords for these stories, and I definitely need to. That's been a hole in my coverage. So that's something I need to expand into for Charlottesville tomorrow. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't own property in town. You know, I rent, and, you know, I have great landlords, but I do know that there are landlords who have their tenants' best interest at heart. And then Charlottesville also has a lot of corporate tenants, or corporate landlords.
Right.
And I think that is sometimes a slightly different story, maybe.
Yeah,
like between,
absolutely.
you know, like I live in a cottage in my landlord's backyard, you know, like we have to get along. We're in each other's space all the time. Whereas, you know, I do have friends who live in big apartment complexes, right? And that maybe the landlord situation is a little different.
Right.
So I'm just wondering, because I don't know, like, yeah. Totally different stories there, maybe. But there is a thing that, you know, could help both. The voucher program. Right?
Absolutely. Let's talk about it.
Hey, and, you know, and actually before you jump to that real quick, though, you know, I definitely want to shout out City Council for any efforts they're putting forth, as well as the Legal Aid Justice Center. You know, so we definitely give them a hand clap. But, you know, I'm curious on your findings there as far as to help with this. Like, what have you found that the city is proposing and the legal justice aid?
Sure. So back in April. Oh yeah, sorry. I always remember that I'm a little short.
You're good. Shout out to Marvin. You just want to get in the camera. That's all. Keep it moving.
Yeah. So back in April, the Human Rights Commission in Charlottesville asked City Council to fund a right to counsel program. And I think the ask was $460,000 of American Rescue Plan funds. And 2 weeks ago, days fly by, I guess. Yeah, I published this on Thursday, July 22nd. So 2 weeks ago, City Council voted to fund an eviction prevention pilot program via Legal Aid Justice Center. And they're two different things. Right to counsel would mean that everyone is guaranteed legal, you know, representation in court if they needed it on an eviction. And that would take, from my understanding, from what LAJC has told me, what City Council has told me, that would take potentially like state legislation to actually get that into place.
Right.
But what City Council did fund is an eviction prevention program, and it's $300,000, and that will go to a lawyer at the Legal Aid Justice Center who can help folks who who need a lawyer in an eviction proceeding in court, and then also an outreach person to let tenants know their rights and to help landlords understand those rights as well, because oftentimes there are ways that, you know, tenants and landlords can work together, you know, to prevent an eviction.
Right.
Because, I mean, I would think most landlords don't want to evict their tenants either.
I would think so.
As long as the money's coming. You know?
And I also think that there's a level of, and we have to be careful when we say these things, but sometimes the perception, again, and Aaron, I want you to chime in, the perception sometimes might be there's a bunch of tenants that are just sitting around collecting unemployment and they're just being lazy and they're not wanting to pay their rent. I'm telling people, if people are having problems paying their rent, they're having problems paying their rent.
They're having problems paying their rent. And I mean, you know, people who don't make a lot of money don't, you know, waste it. They don't squander it.
Absolutely.
It's going to housing. It's going to food. I mean, like, you know, just another component to kind of throw this in there is almost 20% of people in Charlottesville are food insecure. And it's like
That's
so
a lot
many,
of people.
it's a lot of people.
Another big deal. Yeah.
It's another big deal. And it's the kind of thing where, you know, and that sort of number does almost show you like people are really forced to decide between food and housing sometimes in our community, maybe more often than we want to acknowledge. But yeah, people, I mean, housing, and it's expensive here, and salaries aren't really comparable here. We have a huge wealth gap as well. 20% of the city's residents live at or below the federal poverty level. So people want a place to live. They want a nice place to live at that too, right? Like nobody deserves to live in squalor either. So
that's absolutely right.
Yeah. And I, you know, I think there are ways that landlords and tenants can work together to make sure that, you know, landlords have what they need and tenants have what they need.
Yeah, and that's why a comprehensive approach is so important. You know, that's why we have folks on here like Aaron talking about this. We have the mayor on here as well. And, you know, that's why, because it's a comprehensive approach. It's like, it's multifaceted, you know, like layers of issues that we're facing. And the only way that you're going to tackle that wealth gap is if there's opportunities that are being open, you know, to the community as a whole. But as long as the money stays old and it stays with the same, you know, communities and groups, then like these problems are going to be perpetuated.
And actually, I had a question for Aaron.
Yeah.
With some of these local programs, and I'm not sure if you know, you do or you don't know, how intensive do they actually get into the tenants' employment status and things of that nature? Okay, is there a prospective plan? Is there employment on the rise and things of that nature? Because when you were talking, I was just thinking, it sounds good for these extensions, but eventually it has to end.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there's no, like this is not a forever thing.
Yeah, just like yesterday.
So what is the plan that is being put in place for not only the tenants but for the okay, this is the plan. The client has a new job, or what if somebody after the extent they don't have a job?
Right.
They still don't have a job.
Yeah.
Like what's your research found out about some of that?
Sure. So that is, you know, such a valid question. I think a lot of industries will still not be hiring people for a while now, right? Or people might not be able to work because they've had COVID and are having long-term effects or whatever else. So let's see. So I know that, you know, Governor Northam tomorrow is potentially, he's supposed to be talking about another extension to the moratorium.
Okay.
Which we'll see what comes out of that. I'm very curious. But for ways for people to be guaranteed housing, and also for tenants to be guaranteed housing, and for landlords to be guaranteed their rent check.
Their money,
There's the housing voucher programs.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is great. And I want to begin with a caveat to this.
Okay.
Both Charlottesville Redevelopment and Housing Authority and the Albemarle County Office of Housing. There's so many acronyms in this city. But both of them work with HUD, the Office of Housing and Urban Development, on these housing voucher programs. And they only have so many, and they do not have nearly as many as they, you know, basically the demand does not line up with what they have to offer. But, you know, there are ways for them to get more funding. It just depends on HUD. It's all like a federal funding thing. But hey, wouldn't it be cool if locally we had something like
Some
this?
funding available.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. So with the housing voucher programs, it's different from public housing. It is federally subsidized, but tenants can choose where they want to live, and they could live in a private residence. If someone's got a basement apartment in their house, a tenant could say, "Hey, like I want to rent this apartment," and they have their voucher that would cover it.
Right.
So there's so many things that complicate this, like pretty much everything else in the world. But it's pretty basic, right? So someone meets the requirements, which is hurdle number one, right? Someone meets the requirements for a housing voucher, and they're awarded one. Maybe this is all theoretical. Well, they get on a wait list, and then after the wait list, if they're awarded a voucher, the government is saying, okay, we will subsidize this much of your rent. So say a lease is $1,000, which is pretty much unheard of in Charlottesville. But say your lease
much anywhere,
pretty much anywhere,
Yeah.
true. Say it's $1,000, just to make this easy. And as a tenant, you are expected to contribute 30% of your income to housing. So, and you're not expected to pay more than 30%, I think, of the rent. Yeah, I think that's right. But, say you can contribute $300 of that $1,000 every month.
Right.
With a housing voucher, the government would pay the additional $700. So the landlord is guaranteed that money because their contract is with the government for payment.
Right.
And even if the tenant loses their job for a little bit and can't pay that $300 a month, the program has that flexibility built in that the landlord would still get that full $1,000.
Now, I just want to make sure I'm asking because I appreciate that information.
Yeah.
So, so if somebody right now is not paying their rent to a landlord, they can apply for this housing voucher and use that towards their current lease, or does it have to be a new lease? I just want to make sure I'm understanding.
That's a good question. I don't know if it can be a new lease or a
Okay,
or
I
a current
wasn't
one.
sure.
But
Okay.
actually, and two, like what's hard about this is that like the waiting list is long.
Oh my God! When you said waiting list
I know,
and
right?
government, I
Right?
said
You're like,
you
okay.
already know. Like,
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the thing, right? It's like we have something like this that does work and for a few hundred families in the community,
Right.
but there are thousands more people on the wait list.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
wait lists are only open a few days a year because otherwise, and it's sad, right? It's like they can't keep them open because then the wait lists just keep
growing and growing.
and then people are waiting for years and years and years.
Wow.
Which, that uncertainty is stressful as well.
Yeah.
I don't know, it would make me so happy if that could be expanded. And I know that Maxine Waters has put in a legislation, a bill that, I mean, who knows what it will become or if it will pass or
Right,
what.
right.
But to have more of this, like it would be more than just, a few hundred families in the community who could be eligible for something like this. There could be more funding.
Yeah. Good info. That's some great info.
Yeah.
And Aaron, it makes me think too when we talk about the comprehensive approach on how we tackle, such a plethora of issues. She said government funding, with some of the programs, and so, like, it's just hard for me to believe that we're not going to get to a point to where federal government will start, like, dabbling into cost of living. And what I'm getting at is that if you already got to subsidize, right, certain payments, then it would almost benefit you to then make like sort of like preemptive mandates, you know what I mean, of being able to contribute or even try to convince states to have like a living, like a cost of living cap. And I know that may sound kind of out there, but seriously, if we're talking about money, federal government, and if you're saying I got to dish out money because of your cost of living, I got to imagine somebody's already writing a bill thinking, how can we put a cap, maybe, you know what I mean?
Charles, you and I, we have talked about this so many times, but nobody is ready to see a true society where you have a large portion of the population that have and don't. Because as somebody once told me, the wolves are going to come eat, and they're going to come eat you. So we have to be very, very careful. We have to put together some great plans like Aaron was talking about, but the bigger this problem gets, when people get evicted, they're on the street. And I don't know if anybody's ever lived in an environment to where people don't have money. They will figure out a way to get money. And here's the thing, and I want Aaron to, but we're already seeing this, Charles, in some of the Atlanta, New York City. We're seeing Chicago, not just those places, Texas, Florida. We are seeing crime rates go up. robbery go up. In Atlanta, there's a huge stolen car issue. Like, we're seeing these local things. I think Aaron said starting to see a spike in some of that stuff here locally. It's because when you have segments of populations that are not earning a sufficient amount of income to basically do basic life stuff, they do the things that they know how to do, and a lot of that typically turns to crime. And the other thing we're not going to talk about is that I'm seeing all these signs out here. You could be a server at TGI Fridays, and they're giving $2,000 bonuses, and people are not taking those jobs.
Still not taking
them.
Yeah.
I'm about to get me
$20
an apron.
Right.
Y'all gonna give me $2,000?
Why not? Yeah. Yeah, man, and like that's just so spot on.
And we are seeing it locally. I mean,
Oh,
I don't
you
know,
just said correct me.
I don't
Yeah,
know
that's
if
why
you're
we got
on,
you here.
I don't know if you're on the health site known as Nextdoor. I get like a summary for work purposes.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, oh my God,
Nextdoor
what a
is very
nightmare.
problematic in some ways.
It's horrible.
Yep.
But there's a big thing in town with the theft of catalytic converters out of cars.
Yes.
Just talked about
especially
that.
Priuses, because they're so, it's worth a lot of money.
Rare and expensive,
Yeah, and so that's a huge thing here. And I mean, we have seen, a pretty big uptick in shootings in town. I know you all have talked about that as well. But yeah, we are seeing it locally, and it's only going to get worse.
And most crimes are economic.
Right, and there's also like drug use and overdoses. Like the Seville Harm Reduction Group, they're like going through supplies more quickly than they have recently as well. Because as one of them explained to me, if you only have $400 to your name and that's not gonna, pay your rent, and you can feel good for a little bit, it's
That's real.
So all of it is so connected, like you had said before, Charles. It's all connected, and we have to think comprehensively about all of this.
And that's
for
really
sure.
It's really the only way that we're going to solve it, because folks,
right.
get excited. Like the stimulus, it helps. It helps. And when we talk about vouchers and stuff, it helps.
Right.
But
it's a Band-Aid.
It's a Band-Aid. Things are still, the issue is being perpetuated if we always have a dependency.
Yeah.
Like that's really what all this, all this is. It's still a dependency until we cut the root of the problem and have true equality. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to opportunities within the economic structure of wherever you live.
Right. And then also, not to get on my mortgage tip, but your dollar today ain't gonna be worth what your dollar is tomorrow. And that's inflation. And that is going to be a huge thing. So people are saying, why is rent rising? Well, because your dollar is not worth what it used to be.
Right.
And this is just something that we as a society, not just a white, a black, a green, a yellow, a purple, this is becoming an issue for all of us in all of these different communities. And we're not treating it like that. But, humans like to learn through pain. I always say that.
Yeah.
We love pain.
Yeah, because white businesses and white people have, felt COVID just like black folk has. Like, so this is something that,
Absolutely.
It's definitely like a pivotal part, in our country, to where like, this is one of those times we'll look back in history where it was like, that affected the country. It wasn't one issue. But then of course, if you're already behind when that issue comes, then you're going to have the subgroups then that's even being affected even harder because they were already being affected.
Yeah.
But hey.
Yeah, it's like that
Yeah.
gap widening.
Yeah.
The wealth gap in the United States is just like growing. The rich get richer as the poor get poorer, and
Yeah.
that's a real thing. I don't like it.
That's right.
Yep. Got to do something about it.
Right.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
Aaron, thank you for joining
So
us.
much, absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And yeah, hopefully, we'll see what comes out of the Governor Northam's press conference tomorrow.
Looking forward to that.
Me too. And Legal Aid Justice Center is a really good resource. I just want to
Yes.
point out a couple resources
Yes,
before
please do.
we close off, because LAJC, if you think that you're being discriminated against in an eviction, you can contact them. They can help you out. They do have resources. So does the Charlottesville chapter of the Democratic Socialists of America. They've been doing a ton of work
Good
on the
stuff.
eviction stuff. I mean, for the past year, they've been contacting tenants, letting them know their rights. They've been showing up to court because the court doesn't track all the eviction proceedings. They only track the results. So that's super interesting. But
That
yeah,
sounds like another story.
yes, I know, right? LAJC and the Charlottesville DSA, they have really great resources for all of this, and hopefully I will be keeping up with that at Charlottesville tomorrow.
People want to follow you. How do they find you? Social media, everything. Drop it.
Well, my Instagram is private. Sorry.
Hey. That's all right.
My bad.
Well,
cool.
no,
That's cool. No shade.
I mean, it's like as a reporter, I get some
You're
threats.
reporting stuff. You're reporting.
I get threats, and I just I don't really want anyone to see what the inside of my house looks like.
sorry about that.
That's
Yeah.
okay. But my Twitter is public, and that is Arinaroo, ERINAROO. And my DMs are open, and I'm at O'Hare, OHARE at cvilletomorrow.org. Email me. I'm easy to find on the internet, for better or for worse. I'm happy to answer any questions, or if you have story tips, or I always want to put a personal spin on these things, and I'm very.
That's good. Yeah.
I treat everyone that I talk to with dignity and respect, no matter your situation. So.
That is awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah, add your personality to it. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, because I knew that you had to have some hate mail when you give props to the Democratic Socialists. Some people don't like that.
Yeah,
They won't like that, Aaron?
It's funny. I haven't had as much hate mail at Charlottesville Tomorrow as I did when I was writing about hip hop and black theater at Seaville Weekly.
That says a lot.
Oh yeah. I've gotten some comments that if you really want to hear them, I'll tell you off the air.
Yeah. Hey, but keep doing what you do. We got your back.
Yeah,
we got
thank
your back,
you.
Aaron.
Well, it's great
You're welcome
to be
here
here.
anytime.
Thanks.
Yeah, and until next time, be safe. Keep up the great work.
You too.
We live in a society in which structural racism is a very real thing. We are all dealing with that in every aspect of our lives, and the media is a reflection of our community.
Historically, black people have been portrayed a certain way in the media to justify normative assumptions around political and social issues.
More black people behind the cameras, in front of the cameras, more producers, more people of color producing, so they can go and get the content that's needed so they can highlight our attributes.
I've been in this industry for 15 years, and I've seen firsthand how our voices just aren't heard. Even if you're in the newsroom, sometimes you get completely ignored and stereotypes are allowed to perpetuate. And one thing we want to do is combat that, and also bring information to people so they can be as informed as possible when choices are made in this city, so they can do whatever they can to get their voices heard.
What I believe can be done about the situation is to have more people of color creating news stories, more people who have a interest in and a social consciousness that relates to the stories that they're telling.
Charlottesville Tomorrow looks at these issues. We can present them on IMHO. Vinegar Hill Magazine can take that a step further, and just together we can just make this thing that can be an example of how we can change the media landscape, how we can be more inclusive to get these voices in, to get these people heard. That's just one thing that doesn't happen in so many places, and it's a shame.
We think we live in a society that's very progressive, and we're talking about equity and diversity and inclusion and all these things. Still, the way that black people, and I would say, and I would argue especially black men, are portrayed by the media is incredibly dangerous, and you've seen the sort of tangible violence that it's led to over the past year.
The community can support the SIM project by first and foremost giving us an opportunity. We understand that it can be difficult to give trust right now, especially considering the current social and political environment. But this project will only be as successful as the community allows it to be. And so we ask you to give us the opportunity to do the work, critique the work, and make sure that we stay aligned with the vision. Another way that the community can get behind the SIM project is through engagement. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you're talking about. We want to put your stories out there. And so whether it's reading the articles written by Charlottesville Tomorrow or Vinegar Hill Magazine, or tuning in to In My Humble Opinion on Sundays on 101.3 Jams from noon to 3 p.m., either way, we want you engaged. We want you to be part of this. The community can also support the SIM project through funding. To learn more about how to support SIM, you can visit our website. Thank you for your support.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO Talk Show. IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.
We live in a society in which structural racism is a very real thing. We are all dealing with that in every aspect of our lives, and the media is a reflection of our community.
Historically, black people have been portrayed a certain way in the media to justify normative assumptions around political and social issues.
More black people behind the cameras, in front of the cameras, more producers, more people of color producing, so they can go and get the content that's needed so they can highlight our attributes.
I've been in this industry for 15 years, and I've seen firsthand how our voices just aren't heard. Even if you're in the newsroom, sometimes you get completely ignored and stereotypes are allowed to perpetuate. And one thing we want to do is combat that and also bring information to people so they can be as informed as possible when choices are made in the city, so they can do whatever they can to get their voices heard.
What I believe can be done about the situation is to have more people of color creating news stories, more people who have a interest in and a social consciousness that relates to the stories that they're telling.
Charlottesville Tomorrow looks at these issues. We can present them on IMHO. Vinegar Hill Magazine can take that a step further, and just together we can just make this thing that can be an example of how we can change the media landscape, how we can be more inclusive to get these voices in, to get these people heard. That's just one thing that doesn't happen in so many places, and it's a shame.
We think we live in a society that's very progressive and we're talking about equity and diversity and inclusion and all these things, still the way that black people, and I would say, and I would argue especially black.
Hold on, wait.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion, only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO Talk Show, Sir Charles, A.A. Ron, still here for you. A.A. Ron, we're at the bottom of another show, man.
We are online. They ain't shut us down. Shout out to Marshall, Charles, and A.A. Ron. We did
That's
the
right.
thing. We still on the air.
Video engineer Marshall, Diecast Media.
Yes,
represent.
sir.
Y'all check them out. And thank y'all for staying tuned. Could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with us. Sir Charles, A.A. Ron, hold it down. And Miss Max, and Razor's absence. Hope we do them proud. And I hope we do WVA proud, because this is Charlottesville's #1 for classics, interactive hip-hop, and R&B. Thank you if you're listening on the FM dial, jams.com, your favorite FM streaming app. And tell a friend, go to that, in my humble opinion, IMH Show 101 Jams YouTube page. Subscribe.
Right.
Link is in the media. There's no excuse not to get to us, A.A. That's what I'm getting at. That's my point. You have no excuse not to soak up all this game.
The button. Click it.
I mean, we had Brothers Palmer talking about leveling up, in tech, and he leveled up in so many areas of his life. Such an inspiration for everybody. So go listen to that. We had Nicholas Wright talking about WGC today, therapy, counseling, sports, and mental health, how important it is for us to get rid of this toxic masculinity and be real, about ourselves and each other, right? Take care of each other. We had Aaron O'Hare from Seville Tomorrow talking about the top headlines around right now, that eviction prevention and the voucher program, how that assists, that can help with that. Right now with everything with COVID, people losing jobs, and the people, like we said, who are already affected beforehand. Right. That's now, it's just being, compounded.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Until we, dig this thing up from the root and deal with it, every issue that comes, we're going to Band-Aid it, and our issues are going to be compounded. If you're already behind in the race, are you starting the race handicap, then what you think going to happen?
Somebody going to lose a race.
Yeah, man.
It ain't gonna be good. But,
ain't gonna be pretty.
So what we doing for the last? What we doing?
Man, the last minutes.
I got some things I need to get off my chest.
Yeah, let's hit it and quit it, man. Let's do some Russian roulette. Let's do some rapid fire, MOP style. Man. And so, man, the way that we doing this thing, is we're a hip hop station, like we said. We did say #1 for classics in hip hop and R&B. We did say that, right?
Hip hop.
So I want to shout out our U.S. Senate. You probably won't hear this too much, but we give credit where credit is due, for sure. Gosh darn it. And the U.S. Senate has passed a resolution for Hip Hop Celebration Day.
Can I just say it one time? Remember Rapping Duke? The you never thought the hip hop would take it this far.
Man, I can be your hype man. I can be the hype man. But yeah, of course, man, I'm not one to get all wrapped up into the the symbolism and the symbolic stuff.
I agree.
But a gesture is important. It's just like a relationship. You want to feel appreciated from time to time. You want somebody to tell you look nice. And so
You're right. I can't lie. You're right.
And so that's why I'm shouting out the U.S. Senate for making August 11th National Hip Hop Celebration Day. Wow. And also November is Hip Hop Awareness Month.
Hip Hop Awareness Month.
It's doing that education, man. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe August 11th was selected because that is the birthday of none other than DJ Kool Herc, who, is coined by many as being the founder of hip-hop music as we know it. So shouts out to Kool Herc. Happy birthday coming up for him.
So in those 2 days, do I listen to Tekashi or Soulja Boy? Which one do I listen to?
See, that's the beauty of the culture, man. That's one of the reasons I brought this up, man, because, we sit here on this hip-hop and R&B station, and we grew up in it, man. We grew up, 80s, right? Yeah. 90s, all that. And it's like, this culture, like you said, remember Rapping Duke? We like it's come so far. It's gone from being this niche market where folks was like, oh man, these kids will be out of here tomorrow. Nobody remember this stuff. Like, what is this? Like flash in the pan thing. And now it is like the #1 music genre, generating money.
We in your crib like the plastic on grandmama's furniture. We ain't going nowhere. We up in here. I'll be honest, man. I mean, it is literally basically hip hop is basically, you could say it's American culture.
Oh, it is.
I mean, you could just say globally, like you can just say things are sold from media to sports to entertainment. Everything is based upon hip hop. And if there's a desire for it, then, you know, the culture should get its props. So I'm super happy about that. And shout out to all the creators out there, man. Shout out to the OGs from Sugar Hill, Hurt, Melly Mel, to the GOATs, Hove, Pac, you know, Big, and then now the new guys, Drizzy, Cole, and the one and everybody that's going after them.
And everybody else.
Because
Because here's the thing, man. It's like the genre has to evolve. And, you know, you and I are pretty traditionalist, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, it's a good thing to evolve. It don't have to be your favorite evolution of it, but every genre that survives evolves. That's why you have classic rock.
Right.
That's why you have all these, you know, phases of, you know what I mean, of different musical genres. Yeah. Because you got to do that. So, like, don't be hating on the young boys too much. Old heads, don't hate on the young boys.
And let's remember that jazz at the time was #1, but jazz never got to hip hop. To where it's still surviving and became the culture, or it might have. Somebody might call in and let me know. But jazz, you know, eventually just took a large decline, and I'm just hoping that hip hop in its essence, you know, breakdancing, graffiti, lyricism, all of that it just stays a part of the culture. And I think the good balance that we have right now is we have lyricists out here, the guys that we champion, from Graf to Benny to all these new young guys that are coming out here, and then you still have some of the OGs like Hove, and not like these guys are still putting out content. And then you have the little babies, the old babies, and you know,
the mama's baby,
and you got all these new artists that are coming out here, the Simbas. You know, it's a good collective, man. And I think that the culture is in pretty good hands as long as they recognize that they owe the culture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you, bro. I feel you. So shout out to them, and like that's a great segue, man. The fact that this Tuesday, the next versus battle is the Lox versus Dipset. And like that's, yeah, man, like, cause we sitting here talking about we sitting on a hip hop celebration day, August 11th, man, and guys who arguably like were at their peak, 20 years ago?
Wow.
To where the corporate powers that be, you know, sees that they would have enough draw for this to even be worth their while. Like that speaks to, you know, like to the longevity and to like when you want to say something is goated and to the classicness, I made up another word, the classicness of some of our hip hop.
That's two of y'all counting. That's two of y'all counting. I don't even remember the other one.
I probably snuck another one.
You got like 4 or 5 in here now.
But yeah, man. But who you got? Who you got in the Versus Tuesday, Aaron?
The thing is, I'm wearing a Dipset t-shirt right now.
Get a picture of that, Marshall. Make sure we get a close-up of that Dipset.
Dipset. Shout out to Capo. Shout out to Cam. Shout out to Freaky Zeke. Shout out to Jewel.
We may post a picture of that on
However,
the site.
I cannot, man. When I was in college, man, those Clue mixtapes, and when I heard that Lox freestyle, I literally tried to get into the studio, and I wanted to be down with Bad Boy. I wanted to be down with LOX. I just love the movement, man. So, and just for me, if the Lox just did freestyles, they would beat them if Dipset put out songs. You know what I'm saying? My favorite hip hop lyric of all time came from Jadakiss. He said, "Haters shaking like Ali holding the torch." I don't even think people realize what that means. You know, it's kind of disrespectful, but it's my favorite lyric of all time, man. And I just
see that's the beauty of the poetry.
Yeah, it's kind of dang, he said that, but he did. You know, but no, I'm super excited for those guys, and also from a hip hop aspect, and we're all of us in here. All of us in here kind of know these guys are doing this at MSG. It's at Madison Square Garden.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Dude. The thrill. I mean, like, you talking about legendary. Ali versus Frazier. you know, I'm serious. Like, you got the Knicks. You got legendary concert. Look, what was it? It was Jay-Z the final before he retired.
Yeah, sold it out in the day. He said you got to pardon Jay for selling out the Garden in the day.
So now we got Dipset. We got street dudes doing a versus at the Garden.
But just like B. Palmer said, understood business, knew how to diversify that thing.
Oh, cut the check,
like
bro.
To be able to last. You
know?
Cut the check. You telling me that the Lox, just them 3, And and Versus does let you do all your features and stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Like, so that does add some weight to it. Yes, I may see what you're saying. But if we were just looking at just the 3, and really Sheek is, like Sheek is raw.
Y'all be hating on
No, but like Sheek is raw, but Sheek doesn't have the solo catalog to go along with the group catalog like Ghost and like Kiss does. But
Right.
Dipset, you got to go against 4 guys who had that group success and the solo success.
It's like I said, if the Lox, their catalog is smaller, but I think that the impact is a little bit bigger. I
feel
mean,
you. Yeah, because they're gonna dig into bad boy crates.
I mean, listen,
all the way up
they
to
got
now.
arguably they got the Benjamins, and that right there
That's
is
gonna shut it down. That's gonna
you
shut it
know.
down.
But they got other stuff. But it's just it's also you think about it. I just remember the bandanas, the iced out the skull bones and the styles and the baggy T-shirts and Cameron running around had a pink Range Rover with a pink jacket on. You know what I'm saying? And the LOX is just street. So I think it should be a good battle. Everybody tune in. Like I said, shout out to Jimmy, shout out to Jada, shout out to all the brothers. I'm just happy for them, man, that they're still getting this bag at a later age. Because think about it, Big Daddy Kane, rest in peace to Biz. I'm thinking, but those guys, they never got to experience the financial success.
Yeah, but
that
people
these
still pay to
guys
see
are
them.
now. People still pay to see them, but it's just different, man.
Yeah, it's different.
So it's different. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. When they thought pink polos would hurt the rock. Before Cam got the itch to pop.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, but
Oh,
speaking
man.
of that too, man. Well, like I said at the top, man, one of my favorite MCs is Royce the 5'9". I like
Royce is dope, man.
If you know hip hop, you know MCing, you know what he brings to the culture. Not just the way he evolved from the street rapper to battle rapper into making his last couple albums being top notch, Grammy nominated material, and all the ghostwriting that he's done. You know what I mean?
Right.
Young artists the money's in the publishing young artists. Remember that. And so for better or for worse, Ron, a little beef is going on. You know, hip hoppers love a good beef, as long as we keep it in the studio, right?
Yeah.
But we love a good beef. And Royce and Lupe had the show together. They called it quits. They threw some jabs at each other, threw some shots, and so then it went to wax. And other people sprinkled in some names, and then those folks jumped in, whether it's Ransom, whether it's Mickey Fax, another underground legend that's unrated. And, and so my thing is, you told me they got a website. This thing looks a little concocted, but I can't hate but so much if that's the case, because the brothers saying, everybody else commercializing things and capitalizing on this culture, let's do what we got to do, like for the real spitters. And as long as they spitting, then hey, I'm here for it.
No, that's what I meant. I meant that they're trying to. I think they're setting this thing up to get a big bag from URL, the Rap League. I think they're trying to set this thing up to where they do an actual battle, and they're gonna get a couple million people views, and they're gonna get a bag, and they're gonna walk away from it. Because I haven't listened. I listened to the Mickey Fax diss track. I haven't listened to the Lupe joint yet, and I've been getting mixed reviews on the. So it's they all can spit.
Mickey's was best so far.
I told you.
And I'm a Royce and Lupe fan,
more
so than a Mickey fan.
Mickey went hard, dude.
Yeah,
Mickey went hard. So I think it's good for the culture. Like I said, all these guys is talking, but the name I want them to throw in there. I want somebody to call my man out.
The butcher coming? The butcher coming?
I'm just saying, everybody's doing a lot of talking. Everybody's doing a lot of talking. But I need somebody to call out my man so my man can just give it to y'all real quick.
Yeah.
Because Benny, to me, he's the best in the game right now. But, call him out. Ransom, y'all call him out.
Yeah, Ransom that dude, too.
Call out Conway, too. Jim Jones called out Conway. I don't know why.
But hey, but arguably, the leaders of this new school, and of course you got like the little baby coming up now, and he's sort of like that realm.
Yeah.
He's that realm. But you got the Drake, the J. Cole, and the Kendrick. Like, are they above this now? You know what I mean? Like, do you not call, like Drake is iffy about, like what he writes and all that kind of stuff. But let's just say Cole and Kendrick.
Drizzy is
like,
above
are they
it.
above? Is Cole and Kendrick above?
Drizzy's above it. I know. I know. Kendrick and Cole are 100% for all the smoke. Kendrick and Cole are literally sitting here right now like, I want somebody to just do it. Just give me, throw a little jab at me.
Yeah. So Mickey called Eminem. That was a mistake. Royce and Eminem gonna be a problem for anybody. But do you think anybody gonna call out Cole or Kendrick? Because I don't think. I mean, like they called out M, but I don't know.
I don't. You know what the thing is that you have to be that ball work, as we call it. You got to be ready for it. And Kendrick, and especially a guy like Kendrick. Let's be honest. Kendrick been sleeping a little bit. You don't want to wake up a giant. Yeah. And I'm not talking about he's not working. I'm like, he's just not in the eye.
Working,
He's working, but he's not in the eye. oh, you want to do this? It's like truth be told, it's like somebody calling out Hov right now.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep if you want to. Hov gonna give you about
he still got
140 bars.
He still got that work.
You still gonna get that work, you know? You still gonna get that work. So I'm glad they just keeping it on wax. But shout out to those brothers for getting back to the art and essence of just battling and putting out some good stuff and just get some good entertainment for the culture, man. Good entertainment for the culture.
Sure.
Man.
And and as we close too, man, there's been some controversy. As we said, man, when it comes to lyricism, whether they speaking in metaphors or whatnot, or just speaking from their life experiences, we know celebrity status like shines a light on you. And so, man, it's been happening a lot. And hip hop has been blamed for having homophobic content and references, for years and years. And again, like that, I feel comes from, and I'm not justifying all of it, but I'm saying that some of it comes from generational and a culture of where
a lot of it comes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like if you call somebody a punk, you know what I mean, and like then make sort of slurs around it.
You know that other word that was gonna come.
Right. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and that was not directly meant at anybody's sexuality, but that was how we used to talk until we knew better. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But the baby in his comments, man, touch on that for those who may not know what we're talking about when it comes to what's been recently.
The baby made some comments at Rolling Loud concert in Miami. He was telling people to raise their hands in the air if you don't want to do a certain act in the parking lot and all this with another man and all this other kind of stuff. And the cancel culture, well, not the cancel culture, the LGBT community popped out and they basically, they do what they did. They come with that work. All I'm saying is that we as a culture, matter of fact, I know we played this song on the station. I found Throat Baby very problematic.
Likewise.
Did anybody see a shutdown for Throat Baby? Matter of fact, outside of some of these clubs, we might have saw a parade. I'm just saying.
I ain't messing with you, man. We gotta close the show.
You messing with me. You know you messing with me. Like, come on, man. Like, what we talking about? But I'm not mad at the LGBT community for defending.
Right.
I'm not mad. I actually applaud them for doing that because they're saying you are not gonna do A, B, C, D, and even think about offending our culture. And I think as black people, we can kind of learn something from that a little bit. They take a hard stance. They don't play. And sometimes we waffle on our stances a little bit, but do I think his comments were controversial? Yeah. Do I think he has the right to say what he wants to say? Yeah. But I think that we have to be very conscious that if we say certain things, particularly in this climate, you're going to get called out about them and you got to deal with the consequences. But I'm not mad at the LGBT community for doing what they did and trying to get him shut down at all. Do what they do.
And are we mad at the country singer that got caught on camera using the N-word? Like, does he get the same grace, or because it's the N-word, we can't let that slide? And that's not freedom of speech.
We gotta.
Are we fair? Are we fair?
I agree with you. I'm right there with you. Like, look, if we're gonna be outraged all the time. Not once in a while. And I'm waiting for y'all to start that Throat Baby petition, but I know that ain't happening because your kids are singing it right now and you driving in the car. Be ashamed of yourself. I'm just here.
And on that note, I am.
Look, don't that be the next song? Don't that be the next song? No, my brother. You
my
gotta
wife
get
and
your
kids.
own. My wife and kids.
And on that note, I am H.O. family. Y'all stay tuned. Like I said, tell a friend, that YouTube channel, all your social medias. I am H.O. Talk Show. It's been Sir Charles A. Ron, Marshall on the boards. We love y'all. We love the city, and we just want to see it keep growing, keep progress, and take care of yourselves and take care of each other, y'all. Till next time, you know how to find us. Peace out.
Peace.
I am H.O. Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.
I am H.O. Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.